silent. No one can't hear it. Not even the police. What? 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 Oh, hell yeah. What? 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 Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Open down, open that something. Oh, hell yeah. Raise hell. Great bear. Beat Deborah. Fuck you, Vince. What? 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 Oh, hell yeah. What? 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 Oh, hell yeah. Drink some beer, raise hell, and don't forget to flick off people. What? Yeah. Don't go.
Don't take no for an answer. There's no telling where we've been. And all I know is that if you can't find me, you may never want to find me again. 'Cause people don't understand. People don't understand. People like me.
What? The best part about that. Oh hell yeah! The best part about that is like watching everyone else's faces while that song's going off. Like,
beat Deborah.
the song is literally entitled "Beat Deborah." So,
Yo, that's rough.
all right.
He was
So,
married to her.
oh yeah, there's a whole story about that. We'll get to that on another show. But we're here for episode 46 of the Barroom Podcast. And I got my cast of degenerates here with me here this week. Let's go ahead and introduce everyone to the people in the chat. We got Orange Hat Reviews back with us once again. How you doing, Orange?
Doing good.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Cassie getting her hopes up as a Jets fan, only to be strucken down later on in the year. It's going to be glorious to watch her melt down. How you doing today, Cassie?
Just reliving the Brett Favre moments where we were excited for the epic, colossal failure that was the New York Jets at this point.
Hey, at least you're not the New York Knicks, right? Oh.
I constantly forget the New York Knicks even exist, even while I lived in New York. So,
as I might go to with the New York Knicks, they haven't won a championship since Phil Jackson was a player on the team. That's how far back it goes.
Yeah.
C.S. Johnson is joining us here tonight. How you doing?
Hey everyone.
Just no intro. Just no. It's like, hey guys, how you doing? I can't wait to be on the show here tonight. It's like, okay.
Buy my book.
You do it better than I do, Jacob.
Meek is a church mouse.
Buy her book.
Yeah, buy my stuff. Yeah.
Someone who is not as meek as a church mouse is Mr. Rob Motto. How you doing today, Rob?
Oh, I'm doing good. I pissed off the WGA writers today, so I'm having a good time. It's good.
Oh yeah, well, I can't wait to get into that tonight because this is not 2007 people. These people should be gone and stay gone. So first, before we get into it tonight, Cassie, I'm going to ask you for a little favor because apparently this is a BioShock reference. So I'm going to allow you to read it on the chat. This is from our good buddy Neo. So why don't you take it away there, Cassie?
He says, I'm not so Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man or a woman not entitled to the suite of his or her opinion? No, says the man in Hollywood. It belongs to the elitist. I vaguely remember this. No, says the man in the social media. It belongs to weirdos. No, says the man in other industry. It belongs to social justice. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose the Barroom Podcast, a podcast where the people would not fear, bound by, or be constrained by the elitist, so-called social justice. And now, I not so Andrew Ryan will now leave. Mr. Society Reviews, the founder of the Barroom Podcast, and his group of colleagues will now take over. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the stream.
Yeah, there you go. Pull a round of applause there. That sounded good. I just didn't want to read it. So yeah, Neil with the Bioshock reference there. Getting us started here tonight. Shout out to Neil for joining us once again. Alex versus Evil, who's in the chat with us here tonight. Oz not joining us on Twitch here on the show tonight. We are on Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble, just in case you guys were checking out. Cassie's going to be in the chat with you guys for most of the night. Our good buddy Doba Fett is here saying howdy. Yeah, Stoke Ho! There's so much good wrestling content I can play on here, but you can't play it on YouTube because it automatically gets your channel just nuked instantly every time you try to play anything from WWE, the bastards. It says, in solidarity of the writers who are on strike, we should refrain from posting any comments on the chat tonight. I mean, hey, that's some less shit I gotta read. Let's see here. Yeah, before everyone else was talking about the intro with Beat Deborah, the name of the song, if you want to go check it out yourself. Rob's going to be in the chat with us tonight. The Knicks have been around for 20 years. Try what, 30? That 20 years ago was 2002.
Yeah, it was the 90s when they were in the Eastern Conference Finals at the end of the 90s and just couldn't finish their ticket.
By the way, the Knicks completely choked in the 94 NBA Finals. They should have beaten the Houston Rockets that year.
Heart.
So I don't know anything about sports. Why are they called the Knicks?
They're the New York Knickerbockers. Yeah. It's one of those old-timey words that no one uses anymore.
Like haberdashery.
All right. I'll take your word for it. Okay. You could probably like spin out some like glorious lie here, and I would just accept it. So
what the hell is a Philly? What the fuck is a Philadelphia Philly? Like seriously, I'm from the state, and I'm just like, what the fuck? What is your baseball team?
Yeah, horse. And they don't even have like a mascot be like a giant Philly sandwich either.
Yeah, that green fucking thing, whatever that green, garbage bag is.
Yeah, Dove says, don't diss my Rockets. You only won those 2 titles because Jordan went to go play baseball for 2 years. So I hope you know that.
Yeah, y'all watch a bunch of sports that suck anyway now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, pretty much all the sports suck now these days. We're in the end time, so I just accept it. But so we got a bunch of topics that we want to talk about here tonight. I want to go back to a topic we were supposed to talk about maybe like 2 weeks ago, but then all of a sudden like some weirdo witch on YouTube started like getting butthurt over an article that I read, so that kind of derailed our conversation a little bit. But I do want to follow this up on Jamie Foxx, because apparently he's still hospitalized after what they're calling a medical emergency. They're not outright saying exactly what it was, but from sources close to the situation, he suffered a stroke. So Jamie Foxx is 55 years old. He suffered a stroke a month ago. Apparently, he's still hospitalized. And now we're finally getting details about exactly what happened. And it sounds like it was way worse than what's being reported right now. Here's a story from Circle Code a few days ago saying that Jamie Foxx was revived after suffering a stroke on set, saying he's very lucky to be alive. There's a lot of people close to Jamie Foxx that are saying that, they're worried about him, saying that, they're asking for prayers. They say that he's doing better. Allegedly, but I mean, we don't really know like what's better. I mean, if he almost died, I mean, yeah, the fact that he's still alive means he's doing better, but we just don't know exactly what his condition is. But the story goes is that on April 11th, like I said, almost a month ago, he was in Atlanta shooting a movie with Cameron Diaz and Glenn Close. Apparently, he suffered a medical emergency, which is what they keep calling it. They don't want to say exactly what it is, but he did suffer what is believed to be a stroke on set. Said Jamie suffered a very serious medical episode. They needed immediate attention. A source told Radar Online. The 55-year-old actor had to be revived by doctors, but their immediate actions luckily saved his life. They said it was touch and go for days with him. He had to be revived. He's very lucky to be alive. Insider said he's very lucky he got the treatment when he did. As what led to his medical condition, they said that Jamie suffers from high blood pressure, which they say can cause clots that leads to a stroke in the brain. Doctors believe that this was a long time coming, and if he really hadn't acted fast, that he would have been a goner. Like I say, rushed to the hospital. He's still currently in recovery right now. So, like I said, that's pretty much all that's been reported about this issue at the moment. Now, of course, we have to address the elephant in the room. People were saying that there's conspiracy behind this, and for the record, yes, he was vaccinated. Did it hurt? Did it hurt? Who knows at this point? We don't have enough information to go one way or another. But Rob, I'm going to start this one with you. What is kind of your thoughts around the whole, I guess, situation behind Jamie Foxx and his medical emergency, as they're calling it now? What was your thoughts on this whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's a whole lot I can do except speculate, because certainly what we all went through with the COVID vaccine mandates for certain jobs, just how they tried to lock us down, just all the sort of things that happened in the last couple of years that kind of set everyone on edge. And, the whole time, it was Hollywood, it was certain industries, media pushing to get vaccinated. Hey, do what's right, do your part, show that you care about others. And it's like, I'm not saying nobody deserves terrible things happening to them. That's ridiculous. But it's like when these things do happen, it's sort of like, okay, you did defend this. And so I hope he recovers. I hope he's okay. But if this was a COVID vaccine related thing, those of us that have kind of seen these things pop up since the pandemic, the higher, whatever you want to call it, the young people dying, young people, not SIDS, because that's but sudden adult death syndrome, SADS or whatever it's called. It's like, what is going on? And anyway, and it just makes you nervous because the government was involved with Pfizer pushing this stuff. It was everywhere. So now it's like we see these results happening, these medical results. Yeah, sure, it could be not related whatsoever. Maybe Jamie Foxx didn't get vaccinated. Who knows? But it certainly opens the door for speculation. Just closing up here. I hope he's okay. I hope he's fine. He's done movies I really like. One of my favorite movies is Any Given Sunday, which a lot of people don't consider a great movie. I think it's great in terms of commenting on the NFL and predicted like what was to come with the rise in the passing game and the mobile quarterback, all that stuff. But so I hope he's okay. But he is part of the class of people that were pushing this on everybody. So yeah, I hope he's all right.
Cassie, what's your thoughts about this thing?
Well, it's one of those things where I can't really say what's going on with Jamie Foxx. At the end of the day, all we can do is speculate. But given how pre COVID vaccine and COVIDs versus after everyone's taken this, I'm still happy and content with the fact that I didn't take the jab. I've had the COVIDs. It sucked for a little bit. It was a minor flu. It affects everyone differently, particularly your age. But yeah, all this weird shit that's happening that there's no explanation. And whatever information that can be disclosed is being withheld by the government as well as the medical community. Just makes me all the more content with my decision to have not gotten vaccinated, and there's nothing they can do to make me get that shit. That's really that's what it is. I can't say if this is specifically related to this, but there's just too many questions and nobody wants to give answers. So immediately I think corruption and all that stuff. So yeah, fuck that shit. I'm not a part of it and I never will be. And if people don't like that, then you could disassociate from me. That's really what it is.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you have these stories, like I know there was a couple stories this week. There was a 12-year-old girl who was a soccer player who went into cardiac arrest. Like 12-year-old girl had a heart attack, essentially. Then you had another 15-year-old girl, a horse rider, who died of a heart-related issue. It's like these things are happening now, and they're trying to make it seem like, things have always been like this. We've always had 11-year-olds and 12-year-olds just die from sudden heart-related issues all the time. You talk about the issue with DeMar Hamlin a few months ago. He literally almost dropped dead live on Monday Night Football, and everyone just kind of moving on now. We don't need to figure out what exactly caused that whole issue. So I don't know. Orange Hat, what do you think about this?
Wait, who'd you ask?
Yeah, I asked you. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody who says, "Oh, this is normal and is happening," you're a fucking liar. I'll say that right out. Anybody who says that this shit is normal and it's always been happening, kids dropping dead at 12, 14, 16, 18 years old, all dropping dead after they took an experimental vaccine that was rushed, yeah, I will call whoever says that's normal a fucking liar. And I will also go as far as saying, if you think this is normal, you're a threat to humanity, because this is not normal. And what you are saying that it is, you're basically saying you want people to die, you want people to drop dead, so that, well, just in case they might be perspective differences of opinions to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sorry, when it comes to Jamie Foxx, I hope he recovers. It depends on how long he was out from, or he was under after that stroke, because the longer you go, the more damage it does to your brain. So chances are he is going to be affected for some time to come. And I do pray that he has a speedier, or as speedy of a recovery as he can. But if they're saying that, or if they're trying to hide something, then chances are it is a go-to that it is because he took the vaccine that he was affected by in a negative manner.
Yep. Johnson, what's kind of your thoughts? Being from Atlanta, a local, what do you think about this whole situation?
You mean about Jamie Foxx? Well, I mean, like, yeah, I know. He's honestly there's a lot of good hospitals around here. I have family that work in them.
Yeah.
So yeah. So he'll be taken good care of if he's down here. Yep.
Riveting.
I'm sorry. This is past my bedtime. I'm feeling it today. So.
No problem. Well, yeah, look, I mean, as I said, there's a couple of ways that you can go about this story. And then, look, like I said, maybe it was just his prior, like, health issues. I mean, if he was quietly suffering from high blood pressure, then yeah, he could have possibly had a stroke, completely unrelated. So we do have to put that in the realm of possibility. But look, we've seen so many instances over the last year or so where, you know, things like this are happening and they go almost out of their way to cover it, which makes people even more suspicious. Like, you remember what's his name, the guy from Better Call Saul, Bob Odenkirk, almost died of a heart attack on set. This was like a year ago, like right after the whole like vaccine rollout, and people kind of forget like that the whole thing got memory hold entirely. There's been a lot of people who have died under questionable circumstances, and almost all of them are heart related. So you think to yourself, well, yeah, sure, heart disease is the number one killer of people in the world, people in America. That's nothing new, but you're starting to see a lot more of it, especially now that we've rolled out this thing that we pretty much forced upon a large portion of the population, especially children now, and now even they're suffering the effects of it. And then when we start seeing, I guess, the consequences of those actions, people are going out of their way to try to cover it up, to try to make it seem like, oh no, there's nothing wrong here. It's like, people get mad at the people who ask questions. I'm more concerned about the people who don't ask questions and just believe everything that they're told. Because, I mean, there's people who lie about stuff like this who are in on it. I get why they lie to me, because they're being paid off by somebody. But the people who aren't in the circle whatsoever, and you guys are still turning a blind eye, it's like, what is your deal? Like, what is your problem? Are you just that fucking delusional?
Have the tabloids been pushing to, like, you know, find out this information? Because usually the tabloids, they pushing for all that information to throw it out there. Has that been really a thing? Or
and it's been mostly tabloids, like, talking about like the actual specifics of this, because the mainstream outlets aren't really talking about this at all. Like, this story that I got here was from like the Hollywood Life, which is like basically like a Hollywood like tabloid like magazine. So it's like, it's not like the New York Times or Washington Post are going into any real detail about what's going on here. You got to go through like the dirt sites, the Hollywood dirt sheets, as one would say, to figure out what the hell is happening here. So
there's a lot of stuff that's being kind of like muted anyway, because there are, and this is like part of the reason that like there's a saying that like it's so like you have to be like this amount of educated to believe something that's delusional. And there's a lot of nuance with medical care and stuff. And I know a lot of people were under a lot of social duress, shall we say, to
Yeah. Pressure.
yeah.
Pressure to take this thing that now people are questioning whether this was a good idea or not to begin with.
Well, you have to understand there's a lot of financial benefits to it too. So,
Yep.
and there's a lot of other kind of nice things about it, like putting it on a job requirement. Okay, that actually might help with a lot of things that are like visas. So
Yeah.
Atlanta's one of the most multicultural cities in the nation. We have a lot of
Unfortunately.
doctors from well, we have a lot of doctors from around the world that come here and they apply here, and if they're willing to get the job versus somebody that's like, no, I haven't seen enough medical research on it or something. I mean, that's that works in a particular way,
Yeah.
and you don't have to pay them as much usually if they are immigrants because they don't have a lot of the same protections that American workers do. So there's another thing that you can kind of you save money. Your high turnover rate has nuance to it. Like, oh, we're getting rid of these people and we're bringing in these people. I mean, Disney kind of does the same thing. So there's a lot of bureaucracy. There's a lot of financial tit for tat going on, and then there's just the basic like a lot of the sponsorships that you get from big pharma, like the AstraZeneca jab. That's the only one that actually did it for free. They did it for not for profit anyway. Um, the Pfizer one, they took a lot of government aid. They took a lot of other aid to get it made.
Yeah, like I said, I go back to like way back when this whole thing started. Because if you remember when they first started rolling this out, especially globally, remember in Europe, especially like Germany and France, for like a couple of days, they actually stopped production of the vaccine because there was a study that they did to say, hey, there may be something about blood clots about here. Let's look into this. And then like immediately, like not even like a day later, it's like, okay, back to the vaccine. It's like, wait a second, how can you stop vaccine production by saying that, wait, there may be blood clots associated with this thing, and then less than 24 hours later tell everyone, no, it's fine. It's like, does that not sound wrong to anyone else like but me? Maybe I'm just too much of a conspiracy theorist. Hey, maybe that's just a problem. But yeah,
I
any
mean,
final?
the medical field is full of these things too. Like, I saw a study that said like Tylenol was linked to autism, and there's a possible lawsuit that's getting formed by it.
Mhm.
Like, if you took it while you were pregnant. And you know, the truth is that some of these things just aren't vetted as well as they should be, and they're pushed through for other reasons that are beneficial to other people who won't suffer those costs and stuff. Like I know enough about research on my own to know, like, I'll tell you why I'm not comfortable with the stuff is because infertility was a side effect as listed. Now they wouldn't say that on the thing, of course, but like the people that are the most at risk are people like pregnant mothers, and telling them to get the jab. There was a rise in miscarriages. There was a rise in there's a rise in infertility. You know, there's just some things that are just like you can't test for that properly in the amount of time that it was given. I don't know why Dr. Fauci would come out and say that it had been tested because it had not been tested. And these are, I mean, you take those things.
Well, you remember
require, like,
they
a
were
minimum
telling
amount
you
of-
they were telling you, oh no, we've been testing this thing for years. It's like, well, COVID's only been out for a few months. How have you been testing this for years?
Well, I
They
mean,
still-
part of the reason that they test it too is that so they can change it. And just
Yeah.
with all the changes and stuff that were going on and stuff, it did not have enough time for that. So
Not at
And I
all.
mean, this doesn't even take into account Fauci's involvement with AIDS. Like, you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
complete just disaster that was. And it was like, why would you go back to the guy that was an utter disaster under one of the worst, I don't know what you'd call it, you know, but what was going on with AIDS in the 80s and 90s? It's like, why would you do that?
yeah, I don't honestly know if his stroke was caused by the jab. You know, he could have just pulled a Lamar Odin and been like coked out on stuff. You know,
Yeah, like I said, I'm more than open
it
to
could be
believe, hey, like there's a
embarrassing.
yeah.
So
But I think that if it was just, the fact that they went so far behind to kind of like even now they're still trying to like hide details about exactly what happened. It's like, what's the harm in just saying, look, he suffered a stroke and he's in recovery, right? Like they're really not explaining like too much. I understand it's like, well, you don't have to write someone's medical history, but it's like if something bad happened to you, you just want to know exactly like what it was that happened. And the fact that anytime you have to keep in mind, there's people in Hollywood who get paid to sweep things under the rug. So
Yeah, and I mean, like this, even if he
Yeah,
did
they're
get
called
coked out
fixers.
on, like at a strip club or something. I mean, like there are more embarrassing stories, and people have survived those. So it is the kind of interesting that they're not giving a lot of details. And
yeah.
I do hope he gets better. So.
By the way, Gino, I do see you in the Rumble chat. He says that drugs are bad, kids. He also says that high pressure sales tactics always means that it's not in your best interest. It's like, yeah, that's pretty much Pfizer in a nutshell. So, yeah. And then here's AIDS was also a psyop. If you look at so 1 in 5 people, so 1 in 5 million chance of catching AIDS through heterosexual sex. Yeah, I mean that's a whole other can of worms there too. That they tried to make it seem like it wasn't one thing, and it turns out it was. But I want to move over to our next story here because I'm going to let Rob go off here because Hollywood writers are on strike, baby. Yes, the Hollywood writers actually are on strike, which means that most of the scripted television that you're seeing right now is pretty much going off the air. Late night shows are going to start doing reruns. All of these network cable shows are all going to be on hiatus. And I say good. I know. Remember the last writer's strike was what? It was somewhere between 2007 and 2009. I don't remember the exact year, but
It was
back
2008 because I was
Well, it
waiting
would be
forever
between
for the
07 and
third
09.
season of
It was
Avatar.
2007. I've been literally arguing with people all day who said it was 2007. Now, to be fair, it doesn't mean they're not wrong because I'm still muting people. I'm still muting people who are replying to me. Look, it's fine. I have a standard and an artistic principle that most TV shows do not meet. Now, I have my collection of TV shows that I love, okay, that I think are all-time greats, but I believe TV is a trash medium. I believe that literally what it is a lower art form, especially compared to cinema. Now, I'm not saying movies are great right now. They're not. However, what they're capable of is pretty great. So that's kind of my stance. I've been shitting on WGA all day because basically they're like, okay, so it's a bunch of untalented writers for the most part who need a union to bargain on their behalf, which is fine. The directors have a union. There's all kinds of unions and, for all the workers in Hollywood who do the productions, actors, directors, producers, etc. They all have unions, okay? I don't really like unions because, again, it's like the whatever, the forest gets missed for the trees or whatever, where it's like you're basically, it's a group effort. The talented people, the writers, directors, actors, whoever, the talented ones can negotiate themselves with the studios, with the production companies to get the best deal possible. It's just like when you negotiate your salary, and so to me, nothing is being lost here. What good TV shows have been on the air the last 10 years? Now, maybe there's a handful. And granted, I'm a little behind on it, to be fair. But it's been compared to 2007, compared to when The Sopranos, The Office, Breaking Bad, Mad Men were on the air. You got to be kidding me. So, I to me, it's a completely
let me pause you just right
situation.
there here. Because I have a list of shows here that are going to be affected with this new writer strike as Variety is currently updating. So here's the list of shows that you're not going to be seeing as a result of this writer strike. Pretty much every late night television show is off. So no more Kimmel, no more Colbert, no more Fallon.
Woo!
All those guys are all gone.
Woo! Fuck yeah, bro.
Yeah, Bill Maher is going to be off for a while. John Oliver. So all the Daily Show, all those shows are done. So yeah, take that, Rob. Hey, how about Abbott Elementary? Remember that show on was it NBC or something like that with the Democracy
it's staring
Now!
At me
nonsense?
it's staring at me from my HBO Max app whenever I go in to look for something new. So
yeah,
look, that's all these shows are not good.
How about Netflix Big Mouth? That show's now gone. Now, are you happy about that one?
Yeah.
Or how about the final?
I thought it was weird.
The final season of Cobra Kai now has to wait.
I mean,
Okay,
that's
well, I know
probably
there's some
the
fans of that.
only negative I'm seeing here this far.
That is a negative.
Yeah.
I want to fucking see that before the year's out. God damn it!
And they're like, we're gonna ruin Succession for you guys. And like, I have actually gotten into Succession, but I'm just like, it's okay. it's an HBO show after the sort of prestige period. You know, critics love talking about the golden age of television from whatever 99 to the to like 2010. But after that, it kind of went downhill. Like we don't have prestige shows like The Sopranos, like Mad Men, like The Wire, like Deadwood. I mean, I can just keep going on, but it, you know, the material itself is lacking, and they want more money. They want more money, and I hate entitled people. See, talented artists again can negotiate as individuals. Now, I get that these things are instilled in Hollywood. I know that they're not going to change, that most likely they're going to cave to the WGA. But let me tell you something, okay? There's a lot of reasons to hate the WGA, but their arbitration process is fucking nonsense. Let's say you contributed something to a script. You basically have to prove you wrote 75% of that. And basically, and so the one situation by them that pisses me off is Bret Easton Ellis wrote American Psycho. Did he get a screenplay credit for the movie? Nope. Because they told him you didn't write 75% of the screenplay. Bitch, it's adapted from the fucking book. So it's like, and there are situations like that that play out every day with the WGA. So frankly, fuck them. You know, I know they represent a lot of people, but frankly, unions suck and fuck them.
Well, I got some devastating news for you. House of Dragon is now going to be suspended. Some show called The Rap Shit, which I've never heard of in my entire life, is going to be suspended. Oh, here's a brutal one. Saturday Night Live is now suspended, and their next episode was supposed to be Pete Davidson hosting with musical guest Lil Uzi Vert. Oh, God, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself not being able to see that. Oh, The Talk, also now suspended. They won't be filming any shows. And then Yellow Jackets is also suspended as well. So that's the list of shows that we're going to be missing.
Not The View.
I
mean,
my
man.
God.
The Talk is at least competent. The View is just fucking trash.
Yo, that would have been means for a celebration. Y'all would have broke out the music and shit just to watch the View go. That's the biggest negative, that the View isn't being halted.
What was that guy's name that you mentioned? The Verse or something like that? That rapper's name?
Lil Uzi Vert.
Yeah. Sounds like the dude shit himself.
Yeah, he was the guy I was talking about a few weeks ago who was doing the little satanic performance with the flames and the inverted crosses.
Yeah. Well, that kind of name just literally sounds like somebody who shit themselves.
Yeah. I love the view outside my window.
Uzi Vert. I mean, it sounds like you fucking shot an Uzi and you shat your pants, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, everyone's talking about this whole writers. Like I said, this isn't 2007. Like, in 2007, there was actually shows that I liked. I liked Burn Notice. I like Mad Men. I liked Sons of Anarchy. Like, there's a number of shows I could pull back from that time and be like, oh, writer strike? Oh, this is going to suck. There's nothing on TV now. And look, I'll push back a little bit on what Rob said. I actually like television, at least, back when it was better written, because there's obviously some stories that you can tell that are obviously take a little longer than that 2-hour movie can decide, but when done right, television can be done very well. Like, we've seen shows like The Sopranos, like The Wire, Breaking Bad. We've seen shows that manage to tell a story, not overstay its welcome, and end on a high note, right? The problem with modern television is that they write maybe 5 episodes hoping that they get picked up, and then when they do get picked up, they get picked up for like 22 episodes for one season, so they're just pulling like plots out of their ass for 7 years, and people will go back and say, oh yeah, that show, it went on for 10 years. Only the first 2 seasons were only any good. That's the major problem with TV, and it's only gotten worse since then. Like, dude, we're losing every late night television show that their entire content for the last 7 years has been, oh my God, Trump, am I right? You guys are asking for more money so you can bitch about Trump for hours and hours?
Yeah, and I mean, even HBO, like HBO. Listen, I kind of am a little bit biased in terms of how much I like them. Okay, and even if they fucked up their platform to some degree over the last, since Zaslav came on. I mean, I personally think most of the stuff he's acted has been good, but even HBO has kind of given into this, like, oh, we have to have more shows about racial representation and tokenism, and hey, this cast is mostly gay, or this cast is mostly women, and that's fine. The show has to be good, and that's what's lacking, is that the ideas are not there.
Let's be real now. Entertain, like, this whole shit is all for entertainment's sake. Have these writers with their fucking miserable selves actually been entertaining over the past few fucking years. No, they have not at all. They have been nothing but the most miserable motherfuckers on planet Earth, and no one wants to see that shit. That's why people aren't really tuning in for TV nearly as much as they used to be. If anything, they drive the viewer away. So, I don't think that these people deserve nearly as much money as they think that they do. Matter of fact, they should get a paid decrease, if anything else, or be disassociated from writing entirely.
Well, if you ask me, a lot of or these writers the same ones that were writing all the episodes in NCIS, MacGyver, and all those other ones when the pandemic started. That it's like they all decided to put the pandemic in the shows. People were fucking depressed enough, and you dumbasses put that shit in there.
Not only that,
what the fuck is wrong with you guys?
Not only that, but these are all like TV shows that we've seen. Like Newsbusters is a good group of people who highlight the propaganda in television shows. Remember, over the last few years, everything has just turned into like Black Lives Matter propaganda and LGBTQ propaganda, where it's always about, oh, some white cop kneeled on some teenage black kid's neck, and we have to emulate that in our new TV shows. Like several different shows are doing this. So if this is the content you're putting out there, and now you're on strike where you're not working, you want us to feel bad for you, I would say don't come back. We don't even need you at this point. As a matter of fact, I would love it if we were some kind of like alternate reality where a bunch of like conservative scab writers came on and started doing like unapologetically based TV content while all these people were on strike just to make them even more mad.
One show that actually has remained good for a while is, have any of you guys seen Blue Bloods?
I heard of it. I haven't seen it.
CBS.
They actually they do address some of the shit that's going on in the real world, but they're actually going at it from a conservative perspective where the Reagan family is more conservative. And they are basically speaking out against a lot of the bullshit that's going on. And I'm like, oh my God. Yes, they bring in some identity politics, but they actually rail against it because Reagan doesn't want to, or Tom Selleck, his character is like, I don't give a shit about the narratives. I give a shit about the truth. And I'm absolutely loving the show. And I'm glad that it actually has stayed true to its form throughout the 13 seasons that it's been on. And I'm also glad that it's not part of the writer's strike, thank God. But I saw Wanda Sykes on Twitter tweeting out, I'm part of this writer's strike. I'm like, well, now I know that this writer's strike is not important.
Yeah, Wanda Sykes. Yeah, there's another one we can afford to lose. I wanted to address this comment real quick before we bring Rico on. It says that Alice vs. Evil said they've seen Orange is the New Black. Yeah, I saw the first two seasons of Orange was the New Black. At the time I saw it, which was almost 10 years ago, I thought it was decent. But now that I've gone back and watching, that show is absolutely abysmal, especially now that I watched after the fact. There's an Australian TV show called Wentworth, which is about the same concept of women's prison, but except for it's done more as a drama rather than a drama/comedy. That's far better of a TV show. If you're gonna watch a women's prison show, watch Wentworth over Orange is the New Black. It shits all over it. And then we got our good buddy Rick joining us here right now. Rick, what do you think about this whole writer strike? Are you sad or are you glad that these people are gonna go away and never come back? Hopefully.
I haven't seen a new show in a long time. I'm happy with reruns. That's why I also have Tubi, Roku, a lot of these documentaries that I follow. So I don't feel a lot of sympathy. I feel sympathy for the people that are not writers but whose work is stopped, like the production crew that has to also feed their families. And I say this, I have a confession. I am a union member, so I'm not entirely unsympathetic. But given that I was thrown out of work for nearly a year, I can't imagine myself willingly giving up my work and my paycheck. So that's just really the gist of it. As for these late night shows, honestly, they could put on the reruns and it would be the exact same thing because it's just Trump is bad, Trump is evil. That's it. That's all. That's all they've done for all these years. It's not funny. It's not original. And now that now that Biden is president, why are they going to watch something that is not going to even be is not going to affect them anymore? I've said this before.
By the way, I saw some psychopath, I think Rob brought it up in chat, talking about that this writer strike is going to get people killed because now that they don't have shitty TV shows to watch, people are just going to commit suicide because that's their mental health escape. It's like, look, if you need Abbott Elementary in order to keep you from killing yourself, you need Christ. That's what you need. You don't need another 2 hours of TV shows. I don't know what to tell you at that point.
Where were these piece of shit motherfuckers saying that when the forced lockdowns were a thing that led a lot of, especially young disassociated individuals to, committing,
Well, we shut down the country for like a year. People's business went completely under, never returned, and no one gave a crap about those people. But oh my God, no, the Hollywood writers need to stay on. We can't afford to lose them. Like, get out of here.
Fuck these fake ass people. Like, I just hate people that pretend to care. They're just the biggest pieces of shit, especially on Twitter. They do nothing. They add nothing of worth to any conversation or life as we know it. They are simply a leech upon society. Fuck these people.
I object strongly to that idea that people are going to kill themselves if they don't have these shows. First, they have access to streaming, to DVDs. They can watch old episodes of their favorite shows if they want to. Secondly, you think of the people who, during the pandemic, like me, lost their jobs, lost their family members, lost their businesses, had to endure all kinds of abuse, and also either they had to go into drug addiction or alcohol addiction or relapse because of the stress and of the horror that they were put through. If it saves just one life, and now we're going to worry about these
the
shows.
ramifications.
Yes, it's such a bizarre mindset. Trust me, no one should even think about killing themselves because they're not going to get to see new Stephen Colbert
Because the
shows.
talk has been canceled. Now I'm gonna kill myself.
Yo, these people are sick. Bro, at the end of the day, I cannot wait to see how bad these ratings collapse for these networks, because like a lot of this content is not, it's only relevant for literally that day. It instantaneously
It's not even that.
becomes spoiled milk.
It's not even that. These shows that these people are whining about, it's only relevant in the bubble of Hollywood because they're the only ones who cares about these shows. No one cares about what was the list of shows that they were trying to simp over a minute ago? Like I said, The Talk. Really, we're whining about that movie. What was the Big Mouth? Oh my God, what we're gonna do about another? Yeah. Oh my God, we got robbed of Pete Davidson hosting Saturday Night Live. It's like, what planet are you living in right now?
You know what network isn't affected by this writer strike? MeTV, where it actually has television that has stood the test of time, whereas all this garbage will not.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, She-Hulk writers, you did it to yourselves. Go fuck off.
Yeah.
One of the things I absolutely loved during the lockdowns and shit was all these celebrities freaking bitching about, oh my God, it's like I'm in jail. And I'm like, bitch, I've been in jail. This ain't jail.
Yeah.
This is a fucking vacation compared to jail. Don't ever make that comparison again.
Yeah, a lot of these
If anybody
people,
invades
a lot of
us,
these
we're
people-
fucked. We're so
Yeah.
soft.
Like, yo, sadly, a lot of these people have never really, they've been coddled so much their entire life that when they are met with any form of adversity whatsoever, they just act like it is the worst thing ever. They act like
they're a
children
victim.
are dying and all that shit. It's like, no, the world doesn't revolve around you hot steaming pile of dog shit. Go fuck yourself.
Look
At
at
this
what
point-
they're doing in Western Hollywood right now with the freaking, what do they call them? Ambassadors or unarmed ambassadors instead of the police.
Dude, at this point, I welcome Russia invading this country and rebuilding the Iron Curtain because some of you guys need to go at this point. But I do want to bring this up because this is going to parlay over to a lot of discussions that we're going to have here today. So let's jump over to Netflix. This is a story that came up here not that long ago. It turns out that a lot of Netflix's content is read by either led or co-led by women. Now, remember I had mentioned this on a Twitter picture, like what was it, a couple weeks ago, about I'm so sick of watching like these women who are like almost like harmonized on these movie posters. And I was like, I'm literally going to just start boycotting movies if they have female in the posters now. Like this is as annoying as it's gotten. And lo and behold, like literally 2 days after I went on that whole rant, here comes this story from the Hollywood Reporter. Netflix in the USC, which is Southern California, Amber content study reveals that more than half of the streamers' films and TV series are led by women. So I know you read that. You said, well, of course. That doesn't really go... Excuse me. That doesn't really go into the details of about just how much of Netflix content is run by women right now. So I'm gonna give you guys some numbers for you guys to marinate on here. Let me see if I can pull this up. Oh, okay, so according to this report, now this is based on TV shows and movies that came out on Netflix from 2020 and 2021. They said that 60% of the entire Netflix catalog is dedicated to a female lead. 64% of all feature films either co-feature a woman or feature a woman. That's part of this USC report. Here's some more numbers for you. 27% of the directors of the new Netflix films were directed by women, which is up almost double, no, over double actually, for what it was just the year before. 38% of the show creators were women, which is up 27% from 2018. And then it says here nearly 1/3 of the films, which is 28%, and more than half the series, which is 55% of Netflix content in 2021, had women of color leads as co-leads and as lead as their television. So they're not even doubling down on wokeness. They're tripling down on it right here. And then here's another one just for you guys. Also, the USC report says that 56% of all of Netflix's content has LGBTQ leads or co-leads in their projects. So not just women, but the gays are also getting massive representation in this Netflix series as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this off with Rob here. What do you think about women dominating your television space there, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not watching it, so it's it's fine. But no, hey, good for women. You proved that you can make things just as bad and as incompetent as everyone else. So thank you. That's perfect equality, right?
Yep.
So yeah. Look, it's fine. It's just look, Netflix has been suffering since they went into original content. Like I still think House of Cards is probably the best Netflix show that they produced. But again, I just can't point to much. There's been a few movies that have surprised me that I like Blonde or the one from Jeremy Saulnier that I cannot get out right now. Hold the Dark, I think it was called. So I mean, they've done stuff that's been interesting, but it's like you throw enough crap at the wall, you throw enough money. Eventually you'll have something decent, but there's something very odd about Netflix overall that just feels it doesn't feel like the people who make it care. So
No.
like I think it's great that 64% of women are in charge of shows or running shows. I don't think it necessarily shows an increase in quality. You know what I mean? Even the big streamers for Netflix, I would assume are all led by men. And to be fair, I don't even know what's popular on there except Cobra Kai, Stranger Things. You guys could probably help me out with that, but yeah, it's just something that I've kind of ignored Netflix for the last couple of years. So not surprised, but also not surprised that it hasn't gotten better with the more female directed content.
Yeah, I like I said, I've notoriously crapped all over Netflix content. Even Cobra Kai, which a lot of people immediately forget actually started as a YouTube thing that went over to Netflix halfway in. Like, Netflix's original content is just absolute garbage. And I think the only thing that's really been keeping them going is that over the last couple of years, they've started to double down on Korean dramas. So they've been literally taking shows that are popular over in South Korea and bringing them on Netflix. And I have to admit it, some of their shows are much better written than the stuff that are coming over here on Netflix. I mean, you get these like terrible like female stand-up comedies where it's like everybody's just an Amy Schumer clone. It's just absolutely just awful. Then you get like Orange is the New Black, or you'll get like some show about like selling Sunset, which is basically just a bunch of like white women whining about selling multi-million-dollar homes in LA. Like, this is the content that you get on Netflix now, and the fact that they're celebrating this is just like, what are you doing?
I support
Well,
please hire more and more women. Please hire more of these rainbow alphabet individuals, whatever the fuck they identify. Please, because you know why? When the more they hire, so the more that the hirees of the LGBT and the women, the more the subscriptions do this. And I love to see that shit. I love to see Netflix fail, especially after promoting sexualizing 12 and 13-year-olds. Fuck them.
Cuties.
The more hire more women. You know why? Because it kills your fucking company, and I love to see it. It's just a sad reality of the situation. Look, man, women, it's rare when women are funny. It is so fucking rare. That's like 1 out of 1,000. Now, being entertaining, the only thing I will say that women are good at in regards to entertainment consistently is being dramatic and over the top. If you're gonna start some drama, if you're gonna have one of those like Bad Girls Club. I used to watch Bad Girls Club a lot because to watch these dumb bitches act the way that they do is entertainment. They're good at schlock entertainment, but when it seems to come to like, you know, serious stuff, it's one of those things where some women are talented and then a lot of women just ain't. And this whole push to force women to take the reins and be more in the space of the creative side of entertainment. When you're forcing these numbers and it's not natural, it's not people that have earned their spot. It's just, well, we want to promote these good numbers of you know, women being involved in the creation space or LGBT representation. If it's not based upon their actual talent, then guess what? The numbers of subscriptions are going to do one of these. So yeah, keep hiring untalented people. And it's not even going to women. They hire a lot of untalented men too. So keep hiring these untalented, worthless piles of shit. I enjoy it because I enjoy watching Netflix fail.
Billions of dollars in debt because they have invested so much in their quote unquote original content, and this is who they have at the helm writing this stuff. So you can, it's only a shocker that this is why Netflix stinks. This is literally why. I mean, let's be honest, it's not exactly.
Look at the shield of criticism out of, oh, you just hate women. So obviously you're going to unsubscribe.
At this point, I would say, you damn right I fucking hate women. I hate incompetent women. But honestly, Glad or Wag or whatever the fuck they're called, I bet they're freaking pissing themselves with joy. But it's like...
Yeah. The massive overrepresentation of LGBT.
It's like, yeah, you're the most delusional pieces of shit we've ever known. I mean, honestly, Netflix, the only reason why I ever watch it is for... fucking Cobra Kai. And now that that's going to be fucking off for a while, it's like, well, shit, I have no reason to watch Netflix anymore.
Yeah, just cancel the subscription until it's on.
Yeah, and then I'll get a fucking...
I suspect the subscriptions to Pirate Bay Plus will go up, so... Yeah.
Wait,
so Zeal, I just want to stop the show.
I'm an idiot, so never mind.
I just want to stop the show to let everyone know that Zeal Dozer was late because he was too busy playing video games. So I just want to put you out on blast.
God damn it, man! Stop rotting your brain and watch us. It's a lot more fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Matt Walsh would not approve. Just to let you know that he would not approve.
That's more of a reason to do things.
Fuck about what Matt Walsh thinks. Matt Walsh anime is for the devil, and I think that Matt Walsh needs a fucking cunt hair on his chin.
Yeah.
Well, he's got 6 kids, so I mean, like, he's got to
juggle
that.
6 kids, 7 kids. I don't care how many kids he has.
Giving all these Twitter hot takes.
Dude was a fucking ignorant piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, look, about the whole anime debate. I'll just say this. I see both sides as very annoying. I actually went to an anime convention maybe about, it had to have been like maybe 5 years ago. It was in Orange County. And I went there once and I was like, I'm clearly in the wrong crowd of people and I'll never do this again. Can anime be cringe? Absolutely. But to sit there and say that all anime is like pedophilic or some nonsense like that, it's like, it's basically like saying, like, making that same argument for like movies. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm pretty sure you can find like 1 or 2 movies that are for creepos, but it's like this label the entire genre of entertainment be like exactly. It's like that's a very dumb statement to make.
What we need now is the anime version of Cuties to just have everything blend together.
I'm pretty sure there's already several.
I'm gonna say.
Don't ever say that. But I mean, they say that. Oh my god, or they say that it's satanic. One of my favorite animes is literally about a spirit detective hunting down and killing demons.
Yeah, but it's not like
How is that
pornographic.
demonic? Or how is that the devil? Literally fighting against the devil.
Well,
Or
on the
somewhat.
issue of about Netflix having women, that's a plus. I don't object to having women make content if that's what they want. The question is the content good? The content is
No,
not
Rick, it's
good.
on Netflix. It's not
Yeah.
good.
Well, I mean, did any woman write the Mighty Morphin movie that we saw?
Yeah, it's called David Yost.
Oh gosh.
Oh
Now,
my god.
a woman being the creator, the director, or the lead, in and of itself does not make the project good or bad. I mean, you look at something like A Wrinkle in Time. That was bad, even if it had a biracial girl that was going to inspire other biracial girls. No, it was a bad movie because it
Yeah.
was just a bad movie, even if it was
Ava
directed
DuVernay
by a woman.
sucks.
Yes. Well, in that one, I actually like Selma, and
It's a TV
it,
movie. Come on, Rick.
pretty much. And as for the LGBTQ representation, again, I've said this repeatedly. In terms of population to characters on television and film, they are vastly overrepresented. And maybe this is why 1 in 4 Zoomers now identifies as LGBTQ. And again, I've constantly puzzled as to how the gay population is increasing. I mean, it's not staying level. Almost every other population is staying level. It certainly stayed with my generation, the one before that, and the one before that, in terms of people who identify as gay.
It's
Now, it's almost a quarter. Think about it. Almost a quarter of Zoomers in high school, or whatever comes after Zoomers in high school, identify as gay. And I just wonder how that is possible. Perhaps it's one is connected to the other. The massive amount of gay characters on these programs and the identification of others. I'm just perplexed by it.
let me say this final scrape on Netflix before we jump over to our next topic here. Do you know how terrible of a streaming outlet you have to be to take a show like Degrassi and make it even gayer than it already was? Because that's exactly what they did.
Yo.
Like there was literally one scene in Degrassi where like all the kids in the hallway like started kissing each other and they were all gay, and I was like, what high school on planet Earth do you know that has that many gay kids in one collection?
It's somewhere in Canada.
Yeah. So someone would say it's statistically impossible to have that maybe, but I'm going to save that one for another discussion. We'll maybe do that on like a retro wave or something like that. But let's jump over to another crappy Netflix show, the Queen Cleopatra show, which is getting so many people upset. Now the entire nation of Egypt is pissed about this show because I don't know if you know this, but they decided to race swap Cleopatra and make her a black woman, which made Black Twitter very happy because they've been saying that the We Was Kings line for so long now that they literally made the Kings and Queens and a Netflix show. But Egypt apparently is not very happy about this. They said that they despise the decision, the race swap Cleopatra, because it says it competes with the simplest historical facts. Now,
Yeah.
I kind of wish Nerdkins was here for this one because I would love her input on here. But obviously, it's no surprise whatsoever that there's a lot of people in a certain community that believes that they were the jump-off point for all of world history. So they'll tell you that they were the real kings and queens. They'll tell you that they're the real Jews and all that old nonsense. Well, now Netflix is adhering to their ideology, and countries such as Egypt is not very happy with it. Their National Ministry of Tourism and Archaeology recently put a stark opposition to the streamers' attempt to rewrite their own history. The second producer said the second entry in the producer of Jada Pinkett Smith's African Queen series, Queen Cleopatra. Shocker, Jada is involved with this one. Is what the world's most famous and powerful, misunderstood woman, a Dairy Queen of beauty who comes to overshadow her real asset, which is her intellect. That sounds like the douchiest synopsis of any TV show I could possibly imagine in my life. This is another quote quote here: Cleopatra's heritage has been a subject of many academic debate. No, not really. I mean, it's been pretty much decided for years. You guys just refuse to accept it, which has been ignored by Hollywood. Yeah, exactly. But said now our series reassesses this fascinating part of her story. So basically, they're telling Cleopatra's story, but they're just putting a black face in front of it. That's exactly what they're doing. Jada argued here that we don't often get to see or hear stories about black queens. I wonder why. That was really important to me, and as well for my daughter and just my community to be able to know that these stories, because there are tons of them. Cleopatra is a queen who many know about, but not her truth, quote unquote. It says she's been portrayed as overly sexual, excessive, corrupt when she was a strategist, an intellect, and a commanding force of nature who fought to protect her kingdom, and her heritage is highly debated. This season will dive deeper into her history and reassess this fascinating part of her story. Well, just hold on to that part of the story here. We'll get to this in a second. But Egypt's own Ministry of Tourism debunked this whole thing in a scathing retort. Here's part of what they're saying here. It says, especially because this film is classified as a documentary, not a drama, a classification that requires the owners of the industry to investigate accuracy and refer to historical and scientific facts in order to assure that the history and the civilians of people is not falsified. They added. So they're very, very not happy about this. It says the appearance of the heroine in this body is a falsification of Egyptian history and a blatant historical misconception. I should say here that they wrote a lot here. I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm going to finish up this last part. It says that archaeologists and anthropologists should have been referred to when making such a documentary of historical films that will remain a witness on civilization and the history of nations. The government body continued, knowing that there are many Queen Cleopatra's artifacts and depictions of coins that confirm it's her true shape and features, which they will all show up as Queen Cleopatra's Greek features, because she's Greek, in terms of her light complexion, drawn nose, and puffy lips. He also says that it is the state of rejection that the film witnessed before its screening comes to the heart of defending the story of Queen Cleopatra, which is an important and authentic part of Egyptian history, and away from any ethnic racism, certainly on the full respect of African civilizations and our brothers in the African continent that unite all of us, the ministry wrote. So they're just saying that, all this is bullshit. Why are you guys moving forward with it? But as you know, Jada Pinkett Smith is behind this, so you can expect there to be a lot of rewriting of history and historical inaccuracies regarding this story. Orange Hat, I'll start here with you. What is your thoughts about first Jada's comments and just the whole project in general here?
Well, we all know that Jada's nuts. So there's not really much to say there. As for Black Cleopatra, we all know the history of why she was lighter skinned. She's Macedonian Greek, and her family was deeply into inbreeding so that they could have a pure bloodline. And none of these fools in the tabloid media seem to want to acknowledge these things. They're only like, well, she's black. We need more representation. You are now taking historical figures. Well, not now. You've been taking historical figures. And you've now been trying to rewrite history. Anne Boleyn, Joan of Arc, saying that she's fucking non-binary when she never was. You are taking so much away from women by changing their history, rewriting it to suit a narrative. And honestly, that is, you can't do no greater disservice. Cleopatra, a lot of people love to say, well, she had a lot of sexual problems and whatnot. She was one of the most intelligent people. And when it comes to being inbred, that's actually not a common thing. Most people who are inbred tend to lack certain mental capacities, where Cleopatra was actually an abnormality because she didn't. She was actually considered one of the smartest women of her time. Now, I'm not by any means, for those of you who are dumb, I am not by any means supporting inbreeding. That is a disgusting practice.
Yeah, we
But
Yeah.
but it can't be denied that Cleopatra was one of the most intelligent women of her time, and she was respected for that. Yes, she may have had some bedroom drama, shall we say. And honestly, I think that Jada Pinkett Smith, her choice to do this whole thing, woman, you need to be ashamed of yourself. You also need to grow a spine because looking like Lex Luthor ain't helping you.
It's her alopecia. You can't make fun of a black woman's appearance. That's everyone has been saying for like the last year, ever since they've been trying to defend Will Smith slapping Chris Rock.
Are you
Oh,
sure? Because
she's
like
losing her hair because of stress.
that's all people do on Twitter is make fun of black women and how they look. But no, I actually think most of you have seen Cleopatra, the Joseph L. Mankiewicz movie from
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
60s. Is that right,
The
Rick?
Liz Taylor one?
Yes.
I mean, it's just like look, and it's a movie. I get it. And I believe this Cleopatra thing is a documentary. Is that what I heard?
Yes. It's
Like
well,
they're
it's
trying to
Sort of
present it as
docudrama.
fact.
Documentary.
Yeah, probably a doctor.
Because this is my problem. This is my problem. Make a movie about whatever you want. I mean, they made The Woman King, which was a pretty deeply offensive thing, like on the surface of like the slavers are the real heroes kind of thing. So like, you know, you can do that. You can completely misrepresent history to make, I don't know, modern day black people feel better. Like a pat on the back, like, hey, you've been royalty too. You know what I mean? And it's like, in Cleopatra acted in the same way that in the same manner in which you criticize modern day royalty, the UK, whatever, as being imperialist warmongers and all this nonsense. This is coming from the same people, by the way. So it doesn't even ideologically add up or make sense. So it's ridiculous. Elizabeth Taylor is gorgeous. I loved her performance in that. Even my favorite film of all time, Once Upon a Time in America, has a little bit of Cleopatra in it. Age can't wither her. That's an iconic character, and the fact that she was real is even more amazing. You know what I mean? Like, her story is kind of just like, really, just larger than life and grand, and it's for a bigger, larger than life vision. Her life, what she did. So you're gonna make some bullshit documentary that, again, pats people on the back of hey, you could be royalty too. It's just so insulting. You know what I mean? If I was watching that and seeing, it's like, it would be so embarrassing to see that coming from a mile away and be like, this is for me. It's a slap in the face.
Age cannot wither nor custom sail her infinite variety. Oh, I love Shakespeare. Even though I'm not supposed to, because he's, racist, sexist, anti-Semitic, homophobic, all that.
You're Mexican.
Yes, and I'm Mexican, so I cannot appreciate Shakespeare. I guess I'm gonna have to stick to, I don't know, Cantinflas. Now, what I can tell you is this is supposed to be a documentary, and they're lying about history. This is a flat out lie.
They're not the first, to be fair.
That is true. Look, I've said this before. If you want historical accuracy for Cleopatra, you should probably cast Nia Vardalos, because she's Greek and she's probably closer to what Cleopatra looked like than Elizabeth Taylor, or, well, yeah, as well, but a young Nia Vardalos. Well, I'm sure there are probably a lot of Greek American or Greek Canadian actresses running around. Oh, well, no, a younger Jennifer Aniston, because she is half Greek. There you go. You could have casted her in a few years past. I think with this story, they're lying about history and they want to get away with it. I think they need to just own up. This is a work of fiction. This is a work of historic fiction. But if you're free to cast a black Anne Boleyn, and I have gone on and on and on about how much I dislike that, because I don't think it's right to cast a black person in a role that is not historically accurate any more than I would cast a white person in a role that is
here's the problem here is that, like I said, especially in the black community, you have a large group of people who truly do believe that they were the real Egyptians. Like, we talk about the people who believe that they're the real Jews. You also the people who have bought into the idea of we were kings, we were queens. Like, people say that, but there's also people who truly believe it.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you guys remember or if you guys know a YouTuber called Jane Theory, but I stream with her on the weekends occasionally when we're on other people's show, and she talked about being raised in a very, very pro-black, I guess, household, to the point where even Santa Claus wasn't allowed to be portrayed as a white man in her home. Like, that's what she essentially grew up in. That was the mindset of the family that she grew up in, where she couldn't even have a white Jesus. Everything had to be black in her household. So what Jada Pinkett Smith is doing, she's pandering specifically to those people who truly feel like they were the real the real Europeans, they were the real Egyptians, but because white people are erasing their history, we're not really getting to see the true side of Cleopatra. So this is who we're pandering to here.
That's true, and this has been
Oh,
going
like
on for some
pandering.
time. We had. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, CS.
Oh, I was just saying, pandering in itself is just a recipe for disaster. So
Yeah.
Yes, I mean I remember Spike Lee when he. I think he did. Remember the Time video. He said, "Well, Cleopatra didn't look like Liz Taylor." That's probably accurate. She was probably not as beautiful as Elizabeth Taylor, but she didn't look like Iman either. I mean, it's strange. It's sad. They could they could find genuine stories about actual black queens, or like I've said before, black Americans, or any other person that would be historical interest. They latch on to Cleopatra because that's a well-known name, but why go and find actual history when you can just hijack history? Egyptians, they haven't been this upset at Hollywood since Omar Sharif kissed Barbara Streisand in Funny Girl, which inflamed the Arab world because he's kissing a Jew. How dare he? Look, I don't think anyone's really going to care about this latest story of Cleo, the nympho of the Nile. So it's all just fake history. Take it as fake history. It's not real. Just like the Woman King is not real history. It ends. The movie ends with a disclaimer saying this is fiction. So I'm sorry. Uh, oh dear. I mean, and no. Joan of Arc was not non-binary. She was clearly a woman, and she always thought of herself as a woman. Why we need to change historical figures to fit present day sensibilities?
Because you're trying to convince dumb Zoomers that your version of reality is actually true.
I was
Remember,
gonna say instead of present day sensibilities, it should be present day insensibilities.
it could be. I mean, remember, these are the same people that thought Helen Keller did not exist. They were Helen Keller truthers, because nobody could believe that a blind woman could actually write. I did enjoy that one person that said that Helen Keller was just another privileged white lady because she never had a policeman pull her over when she was driving, and she never heard no when applying for a job. And I'm going, that is true. She never heard no at any time. And yes, I would love to have seen Helen Keller drive a car. That would have been really fun.
That would have led to a lot of death, likely.
Miss Keller's Wild Ride. Lord
Look,
forgive
when
me.
it comes-
I'm not trying to be
Get that
offensive.
Chat GPT thing to write you an SNL episode about that. Huh? So
You know,
while we're off-
it's. I think the
on
most
hiatus.
offensive thing about this is that people are trying to pass it off as historical fact, when no, that's not it at all. And look, man, if you want to have like a fictional thing, I mean, it's still kind of going to offend people. Like people in Egypt are genuinely offended by this, and it's not necessarily because they connect to Cleopatra in terms of race. It's more so just the historical significance of Egypt in that land, because a lot of people in Egypt are Arab, so it's like there's no necessary racial correlation here. They just want the history of their land to be depicted accurately. And my best friend, who lived in Egypt all of her life up until like 2 years ago, she also studied in college Egyptian history to a very fine detail, and she as well finds this absolutely heinous that they do. Jada Pinkett Smith wants to literally hijack the history of her land because, well, it's important to me. It's important to my daughter. You know what that makes you out to be? A fragile human being.
Yeah.
And people
what
like
happened
this.
to cultural appropriation is bad.
It's
Right.
only bad
That's why this is so funny.
when they deem it so. And
Yeah.
that's like the irony of it. And look, I'm not opposed to like historical films that kind of have a historical basis being like outlandish or wrong. Like I actually love 1 million years BC with Raquel Welch because I like, the dinosaurs in it. And, that's complete utter nonsense. Like human beings and dinosaurs did not happen to inhabit the earth at the same time. So like in that sense, I don't mind that sort of historically wrong, fiction depicted in film or television, but that doesn't really offend anyone. 1 million years BC is not going to make anybody upset that it's portrayed, wrongly, besides maybe, people like, teachers that have to tell their children, yeah, that's actually never happened. But like, besides, it's not offending anyone from a particular place in the world. This is absolute nonsense. At least declare that this is fiction in the very least if you're going to, drop this hot steaming pile of shit onto television.
We're getting to the point where we're like literally pissing off other countries because we're trying to take over their history because we don't want to accept history as it's told because it was the white man that told history. So now we're pissing off other countries and basically whitewashing or blackwashing, as you can say, their history because there's a lot of people who are under this mindset that Africa as a continent is just exclusive to black people. So it's like, don't look at like North Africa or even some parts of South Africa because that's problematic too, as some guy said earlier today. But not only that, you have the whole issue with Egypt. We have the issue with France, like I said, the whole Anne Boleyn. Now they're trying to be like, oh yeah, Anne Boleyn was really a black woman. France is like, no, the fuck she was not. And it's just like, so we're telling these clearly BS rewritten stories of history, and now the actual countries that are involved are like, what the hell are you guys doing over there? Why is it always the Americans that have to rewrite things and ruin things? This is why people hate us, just by the way. There wasn't enough reasons for that.
I was reminded when Cassie was talking again. It would be different if this were something like The Great, that TV show about Catherine the Great, which is ahistorical and overtly ahistorical because it's more of a comedy. So you don't take it seriously. This show is trying to present itself as actual history with a little bit of inaccuracies, but a lot of these shows would have inaccuracies. This is supposed to be presented as the truth, and you're going to have more people believing Cleopatra was black merely by the fact that she was born in Egypt, which is in the continent of Africa. You look at you look at the you look at the African-born acting nominees. You've got like what, Basil Rathbone, Charlize Theron, yes, Djimon Hounsou, but they're also white. Make a movie. I mean, they've already made a movie about Idi Amin. So you want a representation? Yeah, put in when he's devouring literally some of his opponents. I'm sure that would be a much more interesting film. It's making a lie. It's lying about history to please this sense of, oh, we need to have black heroine. You want black heroines? You look at Sojourner Truth. You look at Madam C.J. Walker. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
who?
but this is the
Mary
problem,
Tubman.
Rick.
Yeah.
Okay, the problem with that, is that it's already a strong female character. It's anybody could look up to her in terms of seeing somebody, granted, yes, I know the story, but in terms of being a powerful, like proud presence as a woman, it's like anybody could look up to that potentially. And I want to piggyback over on what Cassie said about you can have artistic license, but it all comes down to the artistic intent. It's all about what you're trying to do in telling that story. So like William Wallace and Braveheart, it's like, is that historically accurate? No, but Mel Gibson was telling a story, and I thought he did it very effectively, and he reached an audience. That movie made so much fucking money, by the way. So, I think that it matters, like the intent of the artist, what they're trying to do. If you're trying to lie about actual history to make people feel better in the present day, it just seems like, you're dividing people ultimately.
Yeah,
your attention
that's
to.
really what it is. They don't care. It's like divide and conquer. It's if anything, this just supports blatant, deliberate, malicious intent. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing good here. You're lying to coddle a particular community, and you're not doing them any favors by doing this. This isn't going to suddenly make a bunch of people say I could be Cleopatra. A bunch of black women say I could be Cleopatra now. That's not what it's going to do. You're just going to continue to coddle a generation of people, and a lot of younger people are completely disenfranchised from society, completely disenfranchised from being the idea of taking their life into their own hands and actually making something of themselves. You continue to coddle these people with all these sentiments of you don't have to do anything, we could do it all for you sort of deal, especially when you have government involved. And that's not a good thing. It is proven throughout many decades now that that's not a good thing. You're just continuing to ruin the people you claim to be supporting while also offending others.
Well, I mean, this goes into like the integrity too of like I know as a former teacher, this is like one of those things where it's like, oh, we're learning about this, so let's watch this movie because it's sick day time. So, and it's just that's how a lot of these things go when it's something that's like quote unquote boring or something, and like. I saw like a survey, and I do know that like when it comes to like how important your race is to your identity, Black people come in at 40%, I think it was, while white people tend to come in at 15. So I do think there is a bit of a like your own like the whole pandering thing. It's an audience that's almost primed for it, and I feel bad for them. I feel bad that you have these people that feel like you need Cleopatra to be Black, and they're pushing it on you.
One of the terms that Jason Whitlock has called it over the last few months is racial idolatry. When you put race pretty much above everything, even like God himself, like race is the most important thing in your life. And this is essentially what it is now. This is what it's become, and this is the end result of it. So any final thoughts here before we move on to our next topic of writers ruining everything?
Cancel this shit.
Bad writers.
Cancel Black Cleopatra.
Let's get Black Hitler next, right?
And you know what the true sentiment of shame in this that this is that this woman, this Black woman, or I believe she's mixed race, is going to inevitably be left out to dry, just like all these companies do to all these, particularly from what I've seen, Black women in all these movies or TV shows in which there's false representation involved. So you're just gonna leave yet another Black woman out to dry. Congratulations, you're assholes.
It's interesting, real quick, that there would have been no issue if they had cast a Black woman as the Queen of Sheba, because traditionally she's considered Black. As far as I know, I mean, I'm not well versed, but I think if you had made a movie about the Queen of Sheba, nobody would have batted an eye. But you're taking a historical figure and you're making her Black just to please a group of people who say they need heroines. That's an issue. I don't like it when people deliberately change history to fit a particular agenda here.
They're called communists. That's what communists do.
Oh, you leave my Democratic Socialist friend out of this. She had nothing to do with it.
FDR made the Depression worse.
Yeah. Well, let's jump over to another story here while we're glad that Hollywood's on strike, because apparently over the weekend a story broke that Hollywood is now Marvel Studios specifically is looking for a woman to play the role of the Thing in the next Fantastic Four movie.
When you say it like that, all I can think of is Biden saying, the Thing.
Yeah, right.
The Thing.
The Thing.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, so let's rewind here just for a little bit here. Remember a few years ago when Disney paid $70 billion for 20th Century Fox, and all of the marks that we know, especially the Disney marks that we know, we're celebrating this as a great thing because now we get to see all of these comic book characters in one movie, and it's going to be amazing. And there are people talking about how, the Fantastic Four, it's going to be done right now because it's in Marvel's hands, and Marvel's not going to screw it up like Fox did. This is going to be good good now. Well, it's been about 7 years. You haven't gotten your was it Fantastic Four film, and now they said that hey, well, we'll give it to you, but it's going to take till 2025 before you can actually see it. Okay, whatever. Now they're talking about doing a female thing. So the initial story was that Marvel was in talks with Mila Kunis because they wanted her to play a gender swapped version of the thing in the MCU version of the Fantastic Four. Now she has come out after the fact and said that, well, she's not in the movie. I don't know if that's just her trying to deflect from what's actually going on or not. We'll get to that here in a second, but this was the story that broke this weekend. The new rumor admitted both absurd and borders on parody. This is Spencer writing here. The so believable given to his studio's recent directorial direction that seems Marvel may be in fact coveting Mila Kunis for a lead role in the upcoming Fast X 4, not as Sue Storm, but as the Thing. So this is the story here. I think it was Grace Randolph initially heard something around that they were looking for actress for Sue Storm, and then they threw a few names out there. So of course, when the women were being attached to this casting news, everyone was thinking, oh, they're gonna find a Sue Storm. Well, turns out that may have not been the case because apparently here they were looking for Jewish actors, both male and female, for the Thing in the Fantastic Four movie. This is a scooper. Time to shine. Hello. This one says that Mila Kunis was in fact one of them. So they want Mila Kunis or possibly another Jewish actress to play the role of Ben Grimm, which I'm pretty sure they're gonna have to change that name too because it makes no sense to keep it that way. It said unlike their other Jewish character, Matt Scarson insisted they actually cast someone Jewish to play the Thing. They say so. Apparently, it's very important for them to find a Jewish actor to play the Thing, but it doesn't have to be a woman. They said they also have someone for Sue only. I'm not saying who it is, but she's already passed one, so it's not final. I'm being very careful with this one. So this was the scoop that was going around. And then even TMZ picked this up. So if TMZ is picking up this news, that means that there's at least some credibility behind it. They're not just pulling this completely out of their butt. Somebody behind the scenes knows that either they're actively looking for someone or they've already found a woman to play the role of the Thing in the upcoming MCU film. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop here because when I heard this story, I had the same thought of everyone else. Like, just why? Like, just why? Make it make sense. Orange, I'm gonna shoot this one over to you. Make this make sense to me. Why a woman playing the role of the Thing?
Well, first and foremost, I am glad that the whole Mila Kunis thing has been debunked because she came out and said it wasn't true. However, if they are in fact looking for a female to play the ever-loving blue-eyed Thing, it's a mistake. It is an absolute mistake. Ben Grimm, the only mook from Brooklyn to ever fly in a space shuttle, yes, I like the Fantastic Four movies, so sue me. Except for that Fan Four Stick thing, that sucked. However, he's one of the strongest. This dude went up against the Hulk at one point. Actually, did some pretty good damage to the Hulk. However, the Hulk ended up kicking his ass. There's no real reason to. I mean, unless you are making some sort of porn parody, this is something I would expect from Axel Braun. Just to fucking lay it to or stick it to Marvel, because he's actually been doing that for the last year and a half or two, where he's actually been freaking doing all this stuff, calling out Marvel, saying you guys suck and I can do it a lot better. But honestly, there is no reason for them to do this unless it was pushing an agenda. No reason at all for Ben Grimm to become Ben Jemima Grimm or whatever and freaking be. There's just no reason for it. And honestly, that's why I walked away from Marvel, because they have decided that they don't respect the fans anymore.
Excuse me. Like the only and somebody actually made this case. So you were talking about how the Thing fought the Hulk at one point. Well, it's like, well, if you do a female thing, that obviously opens the door to bring back She-Hulk, which you've already introduced in your Disney Plus series. So is that maybe their motivation of looking for a female thing, because they pretty much know that they're going to get rid of Bruce Banner's Hulk and replace her with the Jin Hulk that nobody liked in the first place?
Honestly, the She-Hulk is plateaued. She can never stand against the real Hulk. And they actually, I watched the She-Hulk show, and as shitty as it is, one thing I will give them credit for is that they clearly did show that the Hulk is better. He is stronger. He took a, or they love to show the thing where she beats him with the rock throwing thing. He then picks up a freaking boulder and sends it into orbit. It's like, yeah, you ain't freaking better than me. He also let her freaking beat him up, and then it's like, he's like, okay, enough of this shit. And they ended up calling it a draw because he didn't really want to hurt his cousin. So them trying to say that all the female characters are somehow better than the male characters, Hulk broke the fucking world in two in his World War Hulk comic run. His rage cracked the earth in two. What other character did that? That is a Hulk. No other character did that. Not even Ross. And then at some points, Ross was actually stronger than the Hulk.
Well, first, I think that trying to find a Jewish actor to play the Thing is interesting. I think I had some vague idea that he was Jewish. I didn't quite register with me. I think I might have learned that when I was watching Fantastic Babies, the newest version of Fantastic Four with Miles Teller. And I say, and just for the record, I actually like Rise of the Silver Surfer. I got the 2-disc set. But why do we need to have a female Thing? I'm puzzled by that, because the Thing is going to be, I mean, I'm assuming when the Thing stops being the Thing, and I guess can go back, the Thing is going to be topless. So we're going to have, maybe that's the motivation. We're going to see a topless female Thing.
I don't want to see no stone titties.
Well, apparently that's what we're going to get if we have a female. I don't know this.
It's going to look so fucking stupid.
I don't know this. Well, we can start thinking she's a brick house. She's mighty mighty. Just letting it all hang out there.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
please put it back on.
We could do that. We could do that with the female Thing, because she will be a brick house. I don't even know if this story's true. Maybe this story's just there just to gin up publicity.
Please, it needs to be true.
No, I don't. Well, it's just so bizarre. What comic book fan really wants to see a female Thing any more than we want to see? I don't know. I'm trying to think of the equivalent of a male Wonder Woman. I'm trying. I don't know any of this. This is so bizarre.
Well,
The idea
Marvel
that
has Wonder Man, so
I have no idea. None of this seems rational to me. But fine,
Look,
if you want to have a female Thing, you know, for her to do her thing, I don't know. I really have no opinion in all of this, other than please don't do this.
I have
It's
an opinion.
Pointless.
Please, no, I disagree. Please do this. Please kill the MCU, kill Disney's. Please kill your credibility before they end up with the X-Men. That is my thing. I'm dying for. Please let this happen. Personally, I don't hold the MCU to any legitimacy. I don't hold modern day comics, particularly from Marvel and DC, to any legitimacy at all. These are bastard products that don't really hold any merit to me whatsoever. Please do this. Please make the Thing a woman so I can laugh at you. I literally died laughing when TMZ reported on this. It was hilarious. It was just like, of course, and it's like, I'm not even surprised. I'm not surprised because they have proven to do the most asinine things already. So please take it a step further so that more of these fake ass fans will also eventually come to the reality, oh, this is a joke. Like, this company is a joke. Please just continue to do that. Kill this company before the X-Men appear.
Cassie, first, you should know the MCU is the apex of all human creativity. I mean, nothing will ever top the brilliance of Thor: The Dark World. Second, second,
It
we've
should have
got-
won Oscars.
Oh yeah, I should have definitely. Criterion here. Secondly, we've gone from the woman king to the woman thing. I mean, we need more women. Look, I don't know who this is going to appeal to if this is really the case.
No one's gonna
It's
see this shit.
It's not. I can't imagine any little girl wanting to grow up to be the thing. This is such a bizarre mindset. That's why I'm
Girls can be ugly too.
Yeah, they're called
Well, not even
non-binary.
Oh
I
god.
mean,
See,
if you
listen-
think about it, this is the most, as I said, it's dehumanizing because they're calling a woman a thing. How is that not dehumanizing?
Yeah. Well, look here. I think it's important that Marvel gets the Fantastic Four right before they completely just, drift off into irrelevancy. Because their movies
need
are
to
just terrible
clone
now. I
Stan
mean,
Lee
their
and
movies
bring
have
him
always
back.
been kind of terrible, in my opinion, but now it's really gotten to the point where they have no creative juices left. So, look, I would like for the MCU or somebody to get the Fantastic Four right. I saw Doba Fett say, they'll never get it right. Maybe that's true. I own the Infinity Saga. Yes, I bought the hardbound omnibus Infinity Saga before the majority of these movies came out because I wanted to read it because I was excited about the prospect of where those movies could go. I was so disappointed, where like the Silver Surfer isn't even a main character, even though he's central to that comic storyline, So just like, I don't know. I think that Marvel has that ship has sailed. This is like too little too late. I heard Margot Robbie might be the thing, or I don't care. I don't stop. Just make a version that the fans will like. Can you do that? I don't think Disney can do that anymore. So this is where we're at.
I think Margot Robbie was supposed was rumored to be Sue Storm, so that at least is somewhat.
The thing I read was the thing, but again, it could have been completely bullshit.
Yeah,
so.
I thought I read it as Sue Storm.
Yeah, she's in talks. That's what I heard.
In talks. I hate that expression. I mean, what they're not negotiating the Treaty of Versailles here. I hate it when they say they're in talks. They're in negotiations. For heaven's sakes, look, you're going through a contract. Just say it that way. There have been talks. That phrase just gets to me. But no, we want little girls. Are you there? Are you there? Thing. It's me, Margaret. That's what we're going to get.
Yeah, because he's Jewish. Okay, I got it.
No, not even that. I didn't even think about that.
Oh yeah, well I made it. I made the connection. So.
Yeah, no, I made it because it was a woman.
That's the other thing too. It's like Margot Robbie has proven herself over the last few years to be complete box office poison, and you're gonna put her at the helm of Fantastic Four, hoping that that's gonna sell tickets. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe wait till Barbie, because if Barbie bombs, then it's like, why would you put her in another?
I don't think
do it.
Remember, Ryan Gosling is going to win Best Actor for Barbie. That is the talk right now.
Margot Robbie was literally in 2 films last year that lost over $100 million. 2.
Yes. And I'll say that, I guess we need, there are people, I know when people are talking about how they want a Jewish actor or actress to play the thing, I know Jewish, there's at least one Jewish critic that I follow who is upset that Helen Mirren is playing Golda Meir, which I think is strange because I think she's perfect for the role. I mean, the first person who played Golda Meir was Ingrid Bergman. And even she said, look, I'm a tall Swedish lady. How are you going to make me believable as a short Jewish lady? But she was excellent in the role of Golda Meir. I don't think you need to, I mean, I don't know how many old Jewish actresses there are running around who could play Golden.
I don't know why. I mean, okay. Well, let me pause and say that. Rick. I was gonna say I don't know why it's so important that a Jewish person plays this character, but I think we all know the answer to that question. But secondly, is that we all know that when it comes to the X-Men, they're gonna race swap Professor X and Magneto to be black because they need that in order to do, instead of a Nazi story from the World War II, they need to do a civil rights story. Because don't you get it? They're actually Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, so we need to reenact that in our Disney MCU film. Like, this thing is done, dude. Like, this thing is toast. Who knows what's going on Jonathan Majors right now? He might actually be in jail in 6 months for all we know at this point.
You know what's so offensive though? The fact that they actually do equate Martin Luther King to one of the greatest villains in Marvel history, being Magneto. Like, how much more fucking offensive can you possibly be?
I thought Magneto was supposed to be Malcolm X.
Professor X gonna give it to you? Is this gonna be his name?
So basically everybody, all the important creators of X-Men, if it be Stan Lee or obviously basically the more prevalent writers, have all said that there's no direct correlation to any particular civil rights movement of any kind. It just so happens that they kind of do correlate. So
But Cassie,
it was never intentional.
But Cassie, that doesn't mean anything. You can outright tell people, "Hey, Cleopatra's not black." They'll still do it anyway because that's what they choose to believe.
Yes, and this is why you laugh at these people, because they are stupid. They are so fucking dumb and desperate to be represented that they are willing to say the most asinine and ridiculous things. And the important thing to do is not take any of these motherfuckers seriously. Laugh at them and watch them fucking scream and cry and cope and seethe, motherfucker.
It would be bizarre to cast a black actor as Magneto, because I'm thinking, how many black Jewish victims of the Holocaust were there?
No, they'll just negate the entire Jewish thing altogether and Auschwitz and all of that history, and they'll just go straight to the 1960s. So his emotional baggage would be like getting sprayed by like white people, a fire hose during like the 1960s, and that'll be what motivates him to become the character that he is. You know that's what's gonna happen. You know that's exactly what's gonna happen.
It's illegitimate. I think that's the important thing we need to stress.
Yeah.
Fine. Are you going to race swap Storm and make her? You should make her.
No, she'll stay.
She should be Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence should be Storm.
Oh my god.
No. We need to have.
We've already seen her tits. We don't need to see them again. Okay.
No, you know what? We should
Yeah,
get.
we didn't want to see him the first time.
We should get we should get Ming-Na Wen from Street Fighter to play Storm. That way you will have Asian representation.
Oh, are you kidding? Are you trying to reignite the Korean black conflict right now? Because that's exactly how you set that one back on fire.
Well, at least he didn't say Devin Mulvaney should do it.
Don't give him ideas.
No. We could cast Laverne Cox as Storm. Best of all worlds there.
The bottom line is there's
Or
going
Billy
to be
Porter.
another terrible actress who just happens to be black that's playing Storm and not Angela Bassett, which to me is asinine in its own right.
I love Rob's reaction to the idea of Billy Porter playing Storm in the X-Men.
Hey, Billy Porter played the fairy godmother in that Cinderella, so why not?
This is how bad Hollywood has gotten now, people. Like, they want you to feel bad that they're on strike. The only entertainment we're getting out of Hollywood anymore is the absurd casting that we're coming up with about these movies that are probably going to come true. This is sad about all this. This is what entertainment is now, people.
Yes, it's just speculating how bad it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel I feel so old. I cannot tell you how old I feel. I'm 34 years old. I feel at least 50. Because all the stuff that I value and care about, it's like, I mean, this is why I watch those, they might be B movies, but like cops, crime, like that stuff, just, I will never get sick of it. I'll just, and the chances they would take, the things they could do, whatever. Nobody cares about this stuff anymore. Nobody cares about dynamic storytelling. It's just, hey, look how special I am because I'm relatable. And even though I'm a giant fucking loser with nothing to say. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so sick of the lack of heroes, the lack of of genuinely interesting villains, of anti-heroes, and we have some aspects of this, but really it's not how it used to be, crafted. So
I will say this too. There was another story that I was thinking of regarding. Oh God, did I just pull a Spencer and completely blank on what I had here? It'll come back to me later. But look, this whole thing is just a complete dumpster fire. Like everything that Hollywood is and associated with, and yeah, I don't know what more to say at
Look,
this point. I just hope they go away and
if-
never come back.
The important thing is, if this comes to pass, and the thing is really a Jewish woman,
Yeah.
I will laugh at any stupid fuck that takes it seriously. Like, you deserve to be laughed at.
I can't wait for the Mary Sue article to come out and be like, oh, actually, you guys are bigots if you don't love this.
Disney is making, like, their fans, like, literally become, like, martyrs for their company. Like,
Yeah.
because the fact that people actually hold legitimacy, if this is true, still, you guys are the laughing stock of the fucking internet.
Well, hold on a second, Cassie. Can't you picture like a X-Men movie set in the 1990s during the LA riot, and it's a Black Magneto and Black Professor X, and in the trailer for the MCU film, they're playing Public Enemy Fight the Power in the X-Men.
You know what that is? That's fucking cosplay. Get that shit the fuck out of my face. Fuck out of here.
It's $200 million cosplay. Actually,
No. They would be playing NWA because it's West Coast, all right, not East Coast. Come on now.
This whole thing is just. Well, let's move on to our closer here, people. I think we're done talking about Hollywood just being a complete dumpster fire. Oh, actually, maybe we're not, because our final story here is about Matthew Lawrence, who said that an agent fired him after he refused to take his clothes off for an award-winning director. Now, he doesn't name the person that he says on here, but if you read in between the lines and some recent news comes to mind, I think you might be able to narrow down exactly who he's talking about here. But let's talk about this story. Matthew Lawrence, who's one of the many Lawrence brothers in Hollywood. I'm pretty sure some of you older cats know Joey Lawrence. I think there's another one called like
Andrew.
Andrew,
Yep.
yeah, and Matt. So here's a story from the Hollywood Reporter where he's talking about the time where because he refused to take his shirt off for an audition, he essentially got fired from his agency because he didn't quote unquote play ball. So Matthew here is talking about that he believes that he was dropped by agency after refusing to meet the demands of a prominent Hollywood director who asked him to take his clothes off during a hotel room meeting. The Boy Meets World star detailed his experience on a recent episode of Brotherly Love podcast with his brothers Joey and Andrew, while talking about the Me Too movement and the harassment that men and women have faced in the industry. A lot of guys, this is him quoting, by the way, it says, not a lot of guys, in my opinion, have come out to talk about the industry. He started off by saying, now granted, I say this is probably a third of what women go through, but men go through this as well. Lawrence went on to explain how there has been times in his life where he has been positioned to get a huge role by people in power. He says that I lost my agency because I went to a hotel room, which I can't believe they would send me to, of a very prominent Oscar-winning director who showed up in his robe and asked me to take my clothes off. He added that the director, which he did not name, told him that you needed to take Polaroids of me, and then if I did X, Y, and Z, I will be the next Marvel character. He says that Lawrence said he ended up leaving the hotel room, which believes was why his agency, which he also did not name, fired him. He said the Mr. Doubtfire star said there's a huge double standard, using Terry Crews as an example of what happened to him in 2017, where Crews accused a WME agent of molesting him in 2016, with the actor alleging that the agent had squeezed his genitals at a party. He later sued the agency, settled in the lawsuit the following year. Lawrence proceeded to say that the Brooklyn Nine-Nine, talking about Crews here, opened up about his story. People were laughing at him. They didn't support him. They kicked him out. Why? Because he's a man who represents masculinity. I think that our society society is less ready to hear about the situation that's going on with men than they are to hear about women, actually. Joey followed up by saying, seconding his brother's thoughts. He said, when those moments arose, and there were plenty, it was just a principle thing for me. I wasn't going to do it. He said, I lost out on a lot of parts too. And like he said, I know the guys who went on and did them. I don't know what their situations that they were thrusted into. I'm not going to speculate, but I know that it was set up in an infrastructure where it was expected. So when people heard this story and they heard, okay, so it was an Academy Award, not an Academy Award director, but an award-winning director, and apparently he had some kind of ties with Marvel. Well, that led people to speculate, and we're only speculating here, that, well, there was a director who has a long history with, let's just say, Marvel-related properties, who has been involved in some award-winning films out there, something that you might have actually watched recently, and somebody started pointing the finger, could it possibly have been this guy? What other director do we know who seems to have an affinity for, let's call them, hot young boys with their shirts off? If you guys can't figure out exactly what I'm saying, I'm talking about Mr. Bryan Singer. So, like I said,
thought it was Martin
I thought it was James Gunn.
I was going the Singer route because the Singer rumors have been out there for years. Like, this is a guy who, admittedly and notoriously,
more than just rumors, man.
Yeah, I mean, but pretty much this was a guy who would frequently have parties where he would have, young, gay, bisexual men in shirts off position so that he could oogle them and maybe do a little bit more than oogling. And he got himself in trouble not once but twice. I remember this because when I was covering WonderCon from like 2014 to I think almost 2019 was my last year I was there, he got in trouble not once but twice. He got in trouble when these allegations came out. I believe it was during X-Men Apocalypse. When this movie, it was either Apocalypse or Dark Phoenix, one of those two final X-Men movie. And if you recall, he was also the director of the film Bohemian Rhapsody, which got nominated for Academy Awards. And I think, what's his name? Rami Malek won an Academy Award for his portrayal of Freddie Mercury in that film. Well, that was directed by Bryan Singer, and he got in trouble during that whole spiel as well because those allegations came out again. So, like I said, we don't know for certain it's Singer, but there's a lot of things that will lead to that direction that maybe he may have been involved. But what do you think of Matthew Lawrence's story here? I'm gonna start with Rob, and then we'll go around.
Yeah, I've heard about Bryan Singer for a long time. So and then anybody that kind of looked into, I don't know what to call them, but these Hollywood parties that would go on where, it's 15-year-old boys without their shirts on, in the pool party and serving, hors d'oeuvres and drinks, and it's like, what the fuck is going on here? One of my favorite writer, I've talked about him quite a bit, Bret Easton Ellis, like he was at a dinner party and I was like, oh, where are you guys? It's like, oh, we're gonna go to Bryan's. He's having a party. It's like, oh, okay. And so apparently it's a known thing in Hollywood. I'm sure there are other people that have get-togethers like this. This has been true of Hollywood since its inception. So I'm not shocked or surprised. The fact that he's kind of eluded, prosecution is kind of concerning because how many claims have been levied against him, how he's kind of dismissed them or eluded them. That's troubling. It is. I really like The Usual Suspects, his first movie that kind of got him on the map to do X-Men later.
Yep.
He did Bohemian Rhapsody before they fired him. Like, this is a guy that he's probably good at what he does. He probably has connections. It's kind of creepy though, how he just keeps ducking and dodging. So I don't know if that's who Matthew Lawrence is talking about. It's certainly possible. It breaks my heart because now I'm just like, is every child actor like targeted? Like in some, I mean, I guess it depends on who they come across and stuff, but it's so fucked up. Like now, like these things that are starting to kind of, be clued into me. I'm just, it's getting real hard to keep supporting Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? So, please just, God, I want these stories to stop, but at the same time, it's like, if it's the truth, let it come out, please. It's just terrible.
Yep.
Yeah, they say that like novelists have terrible backstories. If they're like, the better they are, the more tragic and like degenerate maybe they are. So yeah. I'm used to that kind of like comment.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I can imagine for Hollywood where the stakes are obviously a lot larger in many instances, and where like the amount of people that you come in contact with is multiplied greatly from when you're a novelist. I'm sure there are terrible stories, so try to keep the optimism up that not all of them are terrible people. Maybe. Yeah.
No.
Good luck.
Well, oh, well, I offer that there are a couple of things that I dislike about this story. I mean, there's a lot to dislike.
There's
One
a
thing
lot to
that does,
dislike.
yes, there's one thing that troubles me is the idea what is this, Matthew Lawrence is not the first one to say that he had to have this meeting in a hotel room. I'm not having a legitimate business meeting in a hotel room, especially if it's for an acting role. That's what you go to auditions for. That's where you go
Mhm.
to space. What is it? Was it casting agents' offices. Granted that you could have something seedy going on there, but
Yeah, with the
going to a
couch.
hotel, yeah, but going to a hotel room for what is supposed to be an audition or an interview, that's just alarm bells should be ringing.
Mhm.
And
Hmm.
second, maybe because I am old fashioned, I think at this point we need to bring the chaperones back. Like especially, well, I mean, for children especially, you should not leave a child alone with adults. But maybe even in your early 20s, I probably would have a chaperone with me now. But since it's so boring, nobody ever wants to see me, with my shirt off, or wants to see me just with anything off. So I would just say, look, you need to have someone with you as a witness, or at least as an extra layer of protection.
You need the
This
Mike Pence role in Hollywood.
You need the mic, yes, yes, and Billy Graham also never was in a hotel room or any place alone with a woman, regardless, because again, your reputation is on the line. Whoever did this, if we don't know who it is, and I'm not going to speculate, but
Do it. Speculate.
well, look, and enough of the alleged decadence of Brian Singer, alleged decadence. Uh, we need to just understand it's a very shady business that these people are involved in, and that's why you need to have other people around you. Again, bring a chaperone and don't have business meetings in hotel rooms, because you know what, criminal activities are usually done in business meetings in hotel rooms. I mean, it's just not worth the risk. But
But
I'm
here's the sad part that a lot of people don't talk about. It's like, yeah, well, there should be a chaperone. There should be parents involved. It's like, look, when it comes to Hollywood, a lot of these parents are in on it. That's why you have so many of these messed up kids, because these parents only see these kids as a paycheck. So they don't really care about what happens to the kids or anything like that. If they can get a bunch of money, a bunch of sponsorship deals, a new house, a new car, and all these other things that are being promised to them by Hollywood directors, these people have no problem selling their kids to these Hollywood producers to do God knows what behind closed doors. And so these parties, they don't care. So that's the sad reality of it. Yes, so people out there who are so desperate for money and so desperate for fame, there's no price that that they won't pay, even if it's their soul or their kid for that matter.
The way that
Yeah,
I
I
see
mean,
it. Oh, go ahead, Cass.
thank you. It sucks because it's like it's a propagated thing in Hollywood that won't be addressed. That's why I avidly disrespect Hollywood so much, because either, as far as I could tell, as far as I see it, you're either a predator or you know someone that's a predator and you don't say anything. That's pretty much how I see it. Um, it sucks because Brian Singer just happens to be attached to some of my favorite comic book movies, like X-Men 1, X-Men 2, and X-Men Days of Future Past are my favorite comic book movies. I know that's not really a very popular opinion, but that I really do appreciate and can go back to those avidly. And it sucks to know that, like, yeah, the main dude behind those films is likely allegedly a predator, and there is a lot of fucking allegations behind all of it. So
Mm-hmm.
would it happen to be him allegedly? It could certainly be the case, but to act as though there's probably not a whole slew of other credible directors in Hollywood that are the same way as well that we don't even know about. I'm afraid my greatest fear is that it's worse than what I think it is. And I feel like that sadly is the case.
Oh,
So,
it is.
could it be him? Maybe. But can we actually, I think it would be foolish to assume that he's one of the few because I feel like he is one of many. So yeah, it sucks that this is another, situation. And I feel as though like men are going to be, especially young men are going to be dealing with this situation more in Hollywood because like they aren't looked at as much given that the fact that they're men as much as women are. So I feel as though there are a lot of predators in Hollywood that'll be like, well, the light is always on the women and all women must be believed. So a bunch of these people in Hollywood are pigs. To them, a whole is a whole. So they'll just switch to dudes.
The way that I see it, I wish that Matthew Lawrence would actually have the cojones to actually name names. Or if you actually name names, which would shine a light on the situation a little bit more, that way people can delve into the background of that person. And if it does turn out to be Singer, he has a mountain of evidence that suggests he is that kind of deviant. People don't like to come forward because of the shame of what happened to them. And I don't know if anything happened to this kid, who's now a man, but I think that he was right to do what he did, which was refuse to do what they asked him of him. Kathy Bates, however, when it comes to, or I want to cover this because I believe actually Bounding covered this a while back. Kathy Bates outed Hollywood's casting couch and hotel rendezvous, basically saying if you went to the hotel, you were aware that something was going to happen that wasn't normal, that wasn't or something sexual wasn't going to happen. And you basically consented to do what you did. Now, if you regret it later, that still doesn't mean that you were raped. That still doesn't mean that you were assaulted. That just means you regret doing it.
Yeah. And by the way, the biggest story about the Harvey Weinstein stuff, just to dial back here for a second, it wasn't just the fact that, he tried to get these young and up-and-coming actresses and models to sleep in them at a hotel room. No, the bigger story is that who were the actresses who said yes? That was kind of the part of the story that got completely swept under the rug because we're just supposed to assume that, Harvey took them to a hotel room and they all resisted. It's like, not all of them resisted. Some of them end up being the biggest stars in Hollywood right now. I think you guys can know a few of them just by the offset. But it's like, that was the real story that I want to figure out. Who were the ones who said yes?
Well,
that
it's
wasn't
kind of
covered
obvious
in
who
She
said
Said.
yes. All you have to do is watch how some of them referred to him. My Lord and Savior, Harvey Weinstein. Freaking Jennifer Lawrence was always so cuddling up to him. And now she's suddenly coming out and saying he was a fucking piece of shit. But it's like, yeah, but that didn't stop you from sucking his dick, did it?
Yeah.
And look, Olivia Wilde, she cozied up to Harvey Weinstein a bunch. You see those photos, and
one of the women, just real quick, one of the women who accused Harvey Weinstein said that he would literally call Olivia Wilde and try to get him to get a three-way between him and the actress, and then she would actually pick up the phone too. So they had a little thing going on in between there as well. So go ahead, Rob.
This is why the Me Too thing always felt phony to me. The whole aspect of, okay, these things have been going on for a long time. And that was the whole thing. It was like, no, it's just Harvey Weinstein, so we can shield ourselves from criticism. No, this is what Hollywood is. And I know this because I know enough about old Hollywood, the studio system. And so, look, that whole thing was bullshit. The whole Me Too thing was bullshit. It was just a way to protect themselves from any kind of backlash. This is why I honestly don't know if Harvey Weinstein is a disgusting pig. However, Was he actually guilty of the things he ended up being convicted for? I really don't know. Because, and again, it's fine. Look, I'm not excusing what he did or the fact that he was basically a predator. But like, was he actually guilty of rape, or did these people enter into these things knowingly? You know what I mean? And so, to me, it's just Hollywood trying to cover up its own bullshit to sort of spread the blame.
Well, that's the
to
thing.
stop the spread.
When he got exposed, Hollywood was very quick to be like, "Okay, we found the guy who was responsible for all the sexual misconduct in Hollywood, so we slayed the dragon, people. We can all move on now. Don't look any further." And it's like, and here's the other thing you want to talk about. People act like it's the women who are the biggest victims in Hollywood. No, they're really not. You want to talk about the biggest victims in Hollywood? It's the kids, it's the teenagers, and they all look normal when they're all coming up through the system, but then a few years after they're gone out of that system, they turn to drugs, they turn to alcohol, God knows how else. And then you wonder, why are so many kids just completely screwed up? Why is Amanda Bynes running down LA wear clothes off and having to be in psychiatric hold for 2 weeks? Why is it that women like Lindsay Lohan fall apart and Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato? There's a laundry list of names that are just completely screwed up people. And it's like, what's the common denominator with all these stories? Oh yeah, they were all child actors in Hollywood. So what's happening to these kids behind closed doors?
Well, you're suggesting that Vanessa Hudgens got into witchcraft?
Well, hold on.
Nothing.
I'll let Ron go, and then you can finish.
I just want to say, like, Dave Chappelle said this about Martin Lawrence when he lost his mind, and where he took all his clothes off, and like, he's like, these are strong people. What is going? Mariah Carey too. What is going? Where she takes all her clothes off or whatever in the middle of a performance. It's like, what is going on with these incredibly strong, smart people that's making them freak out like this? I mean, we've seen occurrences like this throughout. I mean, since my adolescence to adulthood. And it's just like they keep reoccurring.
Yep.
No, I mean, you bring back the witches. That I'm sure that's perfectly normal for all of these women to start going into witchcraft. But it's a good question. Where are the parents? You look at the child stars who have actually had successful careers. I'm thinking like Jodie Foster, or even going way back to Shirley Temple. What did they have? They had parents watching them. They had actual chaperones, to use that term. They weren't left alone with men to abuse them. I don't know why these parents would say, "Oh yeah, this guy wants to meet with you in a hotel room, and yeah, go on ahead. Yeah, you don't need anyone there." No, my mom wouldn't let me do that. And I don't understand. I know, for fame, for power, what have you, you need to stop sacrificing your kids and putting their lives at danger for fame or notoriety. It's simply not worth it for their long-term health or just for their career. Because who knows how long. I mean, really, are we ever going to find out who actually slept their way to the top?
I mean, I don't know if you'll know officially, but I mean, if you read in between the lines, you can pretty much pick out exactly who did it. I mean, like I said, we're all kind of waiting for the Epstein list. It's like, if you're paying close enough attention, you can figure out the people who were already part of the the party up to that point. I mean. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I think we all kind of know who did it. Or hey, maybe he's talking about another Hollywood weirdo altogether who just hasn't been exposed just yet. But I think I mentioned this on the last show we did, like this weekend too. It was like, Hollywood seems to be the only industry where people frequently get accused of stuff and we never get a name. Like, we just never get any names of exactly who these people are. It's always somebody said, well, some big time Hollywood producer did X and Y to me, and it's like, I'm not gonna say who he was or who he worked for or anything like that. So it's like, okay, so for all we know, he's just still doing it then, because nobody in this industry has the balls to actually come out and say, yeah, no, it was that guy and it happened here.
And even if they name them, they still work. I mean, what about that? Was it that Nickelodeon producer who's they've been
Schneider?
Schneider, yeah.
Stories for decades, and I don't think he's ever been so much as charged or indicted for anything.
And they very quietly like fired him too. By the way, like he didn't even like technically Dan Snyder never got Me Too'd. He just kind of like stepped down. It's like, okay, well after 25 years, I think our relationship is going to come to an end now. So it's not like he left in disgrace anyway. He just quietly bowed out as all the Me Too stuff started getting really hot. So I mean, there's another questionable thing there. And then the reason why, I think a lot of the reason why you don't actually get these names is because no matter who these people are and what they claim happened to them while they were kids or teens, whatever the case, they all want to remain in the club. Eliza Dushku, if you remember, she's been in a whole bunch of like stuff. She was like in the 2000s. You might remember her for like Dollhouse, Bring It On, a whole bunch of like other movies. She came out years ago and said that while she was like 13 and doing the film True Lies with Schwarzenegger and I think it was like Jamie Lee Curtis, that I think it was like a stunt coordinator or somebody like that, like actually like molested her in the hotel room. She admitted this like years later and called him out like by name too. And then not that long ago, she also called out a guy from a show that she was on, a very popular show. I think it was called what was it? Huh? It wasn't True Calling, but it was like a hit TV. Oh, Bull. Bull was the name of the show. It was like a CBS show.
Michael Weatherly.
Like that.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
This.
And she called out and said that, hey, he was making some very inappropriate comments around her, like frequently. It wasn't just like a one-off. Like he was saying this like all the time. Well, she complained to it, went to the producers to complain to it. They got rid of her and asked her that she got like a settlement out of it or whatever. But if you notice that ever since she did that, they completely blacklisted her from Hollywood. She has not been in anything in like the last 6 years at least. Because this is what happens when you start actually naming names and you start pointing the finger about who these people are. All of a sudden, they want absolutely nothing to do with you. And the reason why these people don't name names is because, well, there's still a chance that I could be in the club if I just say what happened to me, but I don't give any names. It's the same thing about the use of wrestling reference here. A lot of people complain about like Vince McMahon and say that, oh, I don't like working at the WWE because all the changes and he's a tyrant and blah, 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 yada, yada. But they'll never come out and say anything about him. Why? Because even when they get released, there's still a chance, hey, maybe one day they'll bring me back. And that's the mindset of a lot of these people who just say, you know what, if I can get back in, I'll keep the name quiet and we'll just pretend like nothing ever happened. So yeah, and just settle for millions. But like I said, settle for millions, and then they completely blacklisted her after that as well. So
yeah,
that's
so
go ahead.
No, I just want to be very transparent. So when this story broke, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I pretty much called bullshit on her claims. So yeah, just remember, guys, you can definitely get it wrong. And I mean, I don't know the backstory in this, but after all that, doesn't really look right. So it's like
it doesn't look great.
It looks like hush money to go away.
Yeah, exactly. That's another questionable person that she worked with for many, many years too. So, yeah, there's a lot of questionable shit that goes on in Hollywood, people. That's all I have to say. Oh, then I guess we can end up on this too. Did you guys see the Woody Allen story that was floating around a couple days ago about how
Chomsky?
No, not only that. Like, oh, yeah, God. Now I'm thinking of two entirely different screwed up stories because it was the Woody Allen one with Noam Chomsky and the whole Epstein thing, and then the other one I was thinking of was the Roman Polanski story where the person who he raped in the 70s took a picture together, and it was like, oh yeah, no, everything's fine now. We're best of friends. It's like, yeah, it doesn't change the fact that you still raped a 14-year-old. So I don't know what this photo is supposed to mean. Like, we're supposed to just open you back up or open arms. I was like, oh, it's all good, people. No crime was committed here, even though I'm still in France.
Oh, and let's not forget, he got a standing ovation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
I'm
he got a standing ovation for winning Best Director.
Yeah. But then they boycotted the guy who was part of the McCarthy trials, whatever it was, because he outed fellow communists in Hollywood, and they're still upset about
Kazan.
that.
Oh yeah, Elia Kazan. Yeah, they wouldn't stand for him.
Yeah, I actually want to read a comprehensive book about HUAC and about crap. I'm blanking on it, but basically the two witch hunts. One went after Hollywood, one didn't. But basically, I'm really interested in reading about the period because I want to kind of know, what pressure were these people under? Like, I don't like informers. I don't like people telling on people to the government. I hate that shit. I really hate it. Now, people tell me that Hollywood was comedy, like was red. So, and it wasn't like wasn't a joke. It wasn't that people were sympathetic; they were red. Now, other books I've read say this was a witch hunt. It was bullshit. No, almost nobody was a communist. So, I honestly want to get to the truth. You know, I more or less believe that Hollywood was communist, and that's kind of why it was going on, and there was a fear of that. But, you know, I think that stuff's incredibly interesting, but I don't really know how to feel one way or another. I think Elliot Kazan was pressured by his government to name names, you know, and he did. You know, he did what he thought he was doing was right. He came from some incredibly dark places, so that would make sense that he would have that perspective. Roman Polanski is someone I've had to. I don't really care for his movies outside of Chinatown, which is probably one of my favorite films of all time. So I've had to kind of deal with defending the art, not the artist. What he did was incredibly wrong, and he should have faced the consequences, and he didn't. And that's why he's still wanted for that charge. Regardless of what she says, it does not matter. You know, the court still has its say. So she has said over the years that she's fine with it. She's put it to rest. She's at peace with it. But I also kind of believe the money probably helps ease the pain.
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, like I said, one of the videos that I go back to, I think I quoted it like years ago on the Society Review site, is Razorfist did a pretty good deep dive into this one. It's called Hollywood Was Always Red. So if you want to hit back on kind of the whole 1950s, like McCarthy, like trying to expose the communist thing, I mean, that's a good video to look up. And there's plenty of other topics all around that as well. But it's definitely one to look at because you can look as far back as the 1950s to go be like, oh, they've been subverting Hollywood for quite some time. This didn't just happen since Obama. So yeah. Any final thoughts on this one before we wrap things up here?
Don't let your
How
kids
hard-
go into offices or places alone.
Yep.
Yes.
Protect your
by
children at all
people.
times.
Yep. But I mean, how hard can it be to not be a disgusting perv? You know,
Hard for some people when you're in an atmosphere that thinks it's completely normal. So
I
There
guess
you go.
so. Just pray, repent. I'd love to see like an army of priests like go down on Hollywood with a bunch of holy water and crucifix.
well, the sad thing is a lot of those priests also have done a lot of the same heinous.
I was about to
shit.
say, yeah, let's not paint the Catholics as the as the fixture of this whole situation. I mean,
All right, well, the good ones.
yeah.
There you go.
So,
All right then. Well, I got a quick announcement to make before we go ahead and do the promos here. Is that we're moving movie night to Friday night. We're gonna do a Friday night movie night this night because we're testing some things out. I know some of you guys have been asking us to bring back Retro Rave. We are bringing back Retro Rave in the next few weeks. Hopefully, Nerdigans will be back on here soon, and we're gonna do a completely different format with that. But hopefully, that's Friday night. We'll bring that show back. And I want to go ahead and see about doing a movie night here. And we're going to go ahead and choose this list of movies. Now, if you haven't watched our movie nights, we did one on Saturday. We watched Blue Streak. And then last night we watched Street Fighter, which surprisingly for a movie I hadn't seen, I only heard that it was terrible. I actually thoroughly enjoyed it, even though it's a bad movie. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the movie is good, but it's so entertainingly bad that I found it to be great. So, but we got another movie night that's going to happen on Friday. So here's the list of movies to choose from here. We have CB4, we have Scream 2, we have Real Men, 1987 film, we have Tremors, Road Games with Jamie Lee Curtis, we have Class of 1984, we have Twister, we have Juice, Labyrinth, and Invasion USA, the Chuck Norris movie. So you guys want to see what movie we're going to be watching here on Friday night, which is going to be, by the way, on Rumble and on Twitch. So if you're on our Rumble account, or I can link it to you guys in the chat there, you can watch our previous movie nights, but it will be exclusively on Rumble and Twitch for those nights, and maybe Kick too. I got to work on getting us on Kick. But here's the movie we're going to be watching here. Spin the wheel. Let's see. What movie are we going to get here? All right, I guess we're getting Class of 1984, a cult classic 80s movie. and we're gonna be watching that one on Friday night. So hopefully I'll see most of you guys there on Friday night. But it's time to go ahead and cue this one up and let people promote what they got to promote, and then we can get the hell on out of here. Let's start off with our good buddy Orange Hat Reviews. What you got coming up, Orange?
Well, I got my normal Sunday evening streams with the Hat Crew. We're doing Infinity Saga Sundays. We did Thor a couple days ago. We're going to be doing Captain America: The First Avengers. I also have mystery reviews every Tuesday afternoon where I cover a movie and give hints throughout the week so that people may guess to see what it is. And the ending Wednesdays, the last 2 Wednesdays of May, I will be on my friend Jay Shadow's channel for the ones and twos, where we discuss a couple movies that only have 2 sequels or a sequel or acknowledged a sequel. She will be revealing what those are on her channel on Wednesdays, so or she hasn't revealed it yet to everybody, so I'm not going to do that. But other than that, I also do guest choice reviews, where if a person wants to come onto my channel and discuss a movie, they get to choose the time, the date, and the movie, and it's just a fun stream. We're not breaking down a movie, we're not shitting on a movie. It's a movie that we both enjoy. So yeah, if you ever want to do that, just hit me up on Twitter. You can find me all over.
All right, moving over to Cassie. What you got coming up, Cassie?
So, unfortunately, the term review bomb continues to be misused. So, my next video on YouTube is probably going to be addressing that, particularly in regards to Redfall, because Redfall isn't review bombed, it's just garbage. But if you do want to watch me just dump on this game that I unfortunately spent about 2 hours of my life playing, check out my YouTube channel, Cult Classic Cage, where we keep it honest over there. We don't pull any punches. Literally, I made that rant at like 5 in the morning with red eyes and pure disgust for the state of gaming, with charging $70 for inferior games that are completely unfinished, unpolished, and probably over a year away from a proper release. That's the state that we're in. Also, I love to stream on Kick. It's really cool. Society, do you happen to use like Restream for your streams?
No, I'm still on StreamYard right now, but I'm open to using other streaming outlets. So
Yeah, so like I know that the connection with Kick is that you can use Restream if you're like want to dual stream with Twitch and Kick, which is pretty cool. I haven't done it because I don't personally use my Twitch account, and if people actually sub to me on Twitch, it would mean that I would actually have to provide content for them, and I don't really want to do that. But yeah, Kick is pretty cool if you like Twitch. It's an alternative to Twitch that if you actually want to support the individuals that you like to watch, they get the mass majority of subscription money and all that. I'm trying to hit 75 followers on there, so anyone that wants to help out, consider making a Kick account. Follow me there, Cult Classic Cage. And if you just want to keep up with everything I got going on, follow me on Twitter, Cult Classic Cage, man.
all right, moving over to our big buddy Rob Motto. What you got coming up?
Yeah, not a whole lot. It's May, so I'm gonna jump into James Bond, which I think I've seen like 2 James Bond movies, so that'll be interesting to kind of jump into. But yeah, not a whole lot. My life is kind of in limbo right now. I'm trying to get a job, trying to nail down kind of where I'm gonna be, if it's here or across the country. So, but yeah, follow my Twitter. I pissed off a lot of the WGA simps today, and whatever. It's usually an entertaining time, so just check it out.
Okay, someone who's now apparently referring to herself as the Queen Conservative author. I don't know when that change was made, but Johnson, what you got coming up?
Hi everyone. I have lots of things coming up actually, but I'm getting a cookbook out this month because it's May, and I don't cook, so of course that makes sense. And I've got my Kickstarter, and I'm still adding videos, like my audiobooks, to YouTube so people can listen to them for free. and that's nice. So I have lots of stuff, and I actually am joining Orange Hat on his franchise review part of the time. I think I missed 1 week. That's okay. I'll be back for Captain America this weekend with him,
Awesome.
and then um, I'm working through right now. I'm like trying to edit my current work in progress. So if you're wondering why I don't put the screen on, I look like death first of all, and then second of all, I've got like my pinched mouth look as I like read through my work and talk and stuff. I'm a woman, so I can multitask and make it look really easy.
All right, and then last but not least, our good buddy Rick. What you got coming up, Ricky?
Yeah, I've got more reviews to write and to publish. I also have, for those of you who don't know, and CS, thank you for contributing. I did set up a GoFundMe so that I could pay off the loan that I got. For those of you who know, uh, during the pandemic, I was furloughed, and then the city attempted to lay off nearly the entire library department. The letters of layoff were rescinded 2 days later, but we lost about a year of service. We were given the option to buy it back, but we had to pay it all in one lump sum. I did, and now I've worked very hard to try to pay it off without you know doing anything or diving into savings, but it's getting harder and harder. So every little bit helps. Thank you, CS. You have contributed, and I am most grateful to you. If I'm ever in Atlanta, maybe I'll get you a Whataburger Junior as a
Oh, I
thank you.
expect it. No.
But a junior, that's all I can afford right now.
You better give her
But
a Whataburger after all she's done for you. You kidding me?
like I said, you can get the junior, but I think that's all. Like I said, I think that's all I can afford.
That's
But
all I would want, to be honest. I got invited to Based Con up in Michigan in September, so I'm trying to lose the extra 20
uh,
pounds of baby weight I still have. So
but thank you, and every little bit helps. And yeah, just that, my reviews, and yeah, just trying to keep track of things here. That's it. Thank you.
Then let's go ahead and let you guys know what I got coming up. Tomorrow night we'll be on Bounding in the Comics. We'll be talking about some of the big stories of the day. Myself, John, Trent, Spencer, Josh, Sider will all be doing that show tomorrow. I know we got some great production value on there that we'll be talking about on tomorrow night show as well. So follow Bounding in the Comics YouTube for that. Like I said, Friday night we'll be doing the film. Of the class of 1984. So that'll be a movie night on Friday night. So you have to subscribe to our Rumble and our Twitch. It's in the description below for this video here. So you want to go subscribe to that so you guys don't miss it. Watch it there. Trying to think. Next Monday, I know we're doing the Guardians of the Galaxy 3, our review on the Monday Night Movie Club. And then next Tuesday, we'll be back here once again for the Ballroom Podcast. So I want to go ahead and try to see if I can thank everyone for joining us here tonight. Let me pull back up here for a second. Try to see I get as many people as I can. I know, of course, Duke is always here with us. Alex vs. Evil is always here with us. Oznot, Neo, who's always here earlier with us with the chat. Doba Fett joining us here once again. Shout out to Doba Fett. Zeo Dozer, I know he was late, but I guess we should give him a shout out anyway. JEC joining us once again for the show here. I know we had some guys on Rumble. He had to hop out a little bit ago, but shout out to everyone on Rumble who joined us here tonight. Bounding in the Comics, I'm pretty sure that was John Trent who joined us in the chat tonight. And I'm going to make sure that I didn't miss anyone who deserves a shout out as well. Pain in the Patoot was also here for a quick little minute as well. And I think I got everyone. So just in case I missed anyone, for everyone who joined us here in the chat here on the show tonight, thank you for joining us for another week of the Barroom Cop podcast. We'll see you guys next week. And I figured that since we're here and since we're all about to head out, that, hey, it's the end of the show. It's the outro. Let's try a new outro. If YouTube claims it, hey, it's the end of the show. You guys can just go home anyway. We'll end it. But we're going to try a new outro here tonight. So goodbye, good night. We will see you guys later. Wave, people.
bye.